What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. The NBA season is returning. A lot of new faces. Kevin Durant is back. Steph Curry is back. Are the Nets the favorite to win the title? LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers will be getting their rings tonight. We got an exciting season coming up. I believe this will be one of the most exciting seasons that we've had in the NBA in a long time. Let me introduce my panel. Jade, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Taylor, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having us.
Carl, the executive producer of the Sports Hillis. Carl, good to see you
Sir,
again.
what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Before we get into any basketball talk, I got to tell a little story. So my guy Carl, a few years ago, we met, and it happened to be on a train. Actually, I was going to the Lakers game. I had my LeBron jersey on, and all of a sudden, someone behind me had to chime in and say Jordan's better. Long story short, as we go back and forth, I'm sitting in this guy's classroom come January. I didn't know who he was, didn't recognize him at all, but he brought up that he was into basketball, and then he made a comment to me. He goes, "You're a LeBron guy?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Were you going to the Lakers game at Barclays?" It's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yo, like I must have been on TV or something." I was the guy arguing on the train. I'm like, "Yo, stop."
Yeah, I recognize a LeBron fan anywhere. They all sound the same, so I figured let me take a shot and see if it was him. But
favorite
yeah.
story. And now here we are. Carl's the one who got me into all of this. Anything I do in this business, he's always going to be the first one I give credit to. I'm so glad I got into the sports media industry. Honestly, wish I did a few years earlier, but Carl, thank you for everything you've done.
Listen, man, it's been an honor, privilege, and pleasure. Brendan definitely has over the last 9 months improved and launched his own podcast, and now he's on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I couldn't be prouder. So anytime I see any of the students I've worked with go out there and do their thing, it makes me proud. So keep shining.
Thank you. With today, the season opening up, the Brooklyn Nets and the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant decided to go to Brooklyn, New York 2 years ago and team up with Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. He is now going against his former team, the Golden State Warriors. So, Jade, I want to start with you. I'm going to ask you, what is more likely to happen? The Nets will win the NBA Finals or they don't make the finals at all?
So I think the Nets have a snowball's chance of winning the finals. So I guess I have to go with they don't make that. There's no way they win. I guess maybe they make the finals. I don't believe that either. But if I have to pick one of two options, I really don't think either is going to happen. There's no way they win the finals.
Taylor?
Oh, I don't think they're going to make the finals because it's two players that are very full of themselves. I'm just going to put it lightly that way. We got a brand new coach in Steve Nash. And granted, this is for every team, but no one's been able to really build up chemistry. And then also my question is for the Nets, who's going to be the leader? Because Kyrie and Kevin Durant have kind of made it clear where we're great players, but we're not leaders. We can play ball. Just let us play basketball. Don't let us talk. Don't let us talk. So I don't think the Nets are going to make it to. We're not going to make it to the NBA Finals this year. There's too many question marks for them.
Carl?
Listen, this hurts. It hurts. I agree with everyone on the panel. But basketball-wise, man, I've seen them play. I know it's only preseason, but they look good. They look really good. And when you put in a Karis LeVert and you put in a Spencer Dinwiddie coming off the bench and you add a DeAndre Jordan, you have a nice formula. And these guys know how to win. They're NBA champion. They're seasoned veterans. They've been to the promised land before. Kevin Durant's coming off an injury, and he looks amazing. So it would be really hard and difficult for me to sit here and say that they're not going to make it to the finals. It's basically theirs to take. I mean, you have two superstars who have been established who can get there, who can get you there, who've proven to you that they can win there. The Steve Nash thing is an issue because he's a first-year head coach in a situation like that where you're dealing with those two players. And I know people are going to use the Steve Kerr example, but keep in mind the Warriors were together for 3 to 4 years prior to Steve Kerr's arrival. And I would say, do their bench have enough to get them to the finals? That's the only thing that's a little bit of question mark. Of course, I have to throw in the Boston Celtics there. Giannis, you have to throw in, the Miami Heat. There are a lot of different factors. And we know Kyrie's been injury prone. So there are a lot of question marks. But as far as right now, they look like the favorites. It's hard for me to admit, But as a basketball enthusiast, and I love basketball, I can't go against Kevin Durant in the way he's playing right now. I'm sorry.
Number one, all of you could not be more wrong. The Brooklyn Nets will sleepwalk to the finals. Once the playoffs start, the Nets will make the finals in at most 15 games, if not less. There is not a team in the East that could push them 5 games. Someone needs to come to me and educate me who's going to dethrone them, because nobody can give me a logical answer. I will.
I can.
I will be.
Let Jay go at this. Let Jay go at this.
You're just being biased. It's okay. You can't help it.
I will debate any team to make an argument why they'll beat the Brooklyn Nets.
I can make 3 or 4 arguments.
Hold on.
Me too.
Hold on. So let's start with the coach and Steve Nash. Who hired Steve Nash? Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving did. It's not the Nets front office. I don't want to hear the first-year coach argument. Steve Kerr did it, and Ty Lue did it. And don't say that they've been together for a while, because those
are the facts, though. How could you ignore that those teams were together?
Hold on. The Nets core has actually been playing together a while. You just airdropped Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. The Nets were a playoff team the past 2 years without Kyrie and Durant. Now you add those 2 superstars. Speaking on Kevin Durant's injury, people are trying to say, oh, well, he's not going to come back the same. I always believe in anything you debate in life, a primary source is the best source. I was a former basketball player in high school. I tore my ACL. Is it as catastrophic as the Achilles injury? Maybe not. But when I came back, I came back 10, 11 months, which is how most guys in the NBA come back from an Achilles injury. I was not the same. I was nervous. Mentally, I wasn't there. Physically, I wasn't there. I felt weaker. Once I hit 18 months, I was back to myself again. And again, this is not any sort of rehab that Kevin Durant has. Kevin Durant is coming back over 18 months post-op. This is not a 10 to 12 months like other guys have. So I believe Kevin Durant will return to Kevin Durant form. Once the playoffs start, he will be a top 2 player in the NBA. That's number one. Number 2, Kyrie Irving is a bona fide Robin, one of the best Robins in the league. He's one of the best ISO scorers in the league. He's proven he could do it in the clutch, and we saw him hit one of the most clutch shots in NBA history. Now the rest of the roster. This is not a top-heavy team whatsoever. Spencer Dinwiddie gave you, I believe, 26 and 2 last year, something amongst those lines. Karis LeVert gave you 18 points a game. Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan are bona fide great rim protectors. They have a sniper in Joey Harris. This team is loaded top to bottom. So anyone, please tell me the team that is going to dethrone the Brooklyn Nets in the Eastern Conference. I'm here. I'll wait.
I got you. The Brooklyn Nets are going to dethrone themselves in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, God.
Who's also okay? So
we'll start. Go ahead, Taylor.
I'm just going to ask. Okay, so yeah, Kyrie's the greatest Robin. Who's the Batman?
That's what I was going to say.
It's not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant has made it known that he can't carry a team to a title.
And doesn't want to.
He just played ball.
You see, I have to disagree with that because
So who's dethroning him? You're still not.
But listen, but wait a minute. But who was the best player on that Warriors team? It wasn't Steph Curry. It was Kevin Durant.
No, but
it doesn't matter though.
It does matter. He was the best player.
They still needed a leader. Just because you score the most points doesn't make you the leader.
Who's beating the Nets in the Eastern Conference playoffs? Tell me, who's beating them? Someone make the claim the Bucks. I dare you. Someone do it.
No one's going to pick the Bucks. No one's going to pick the Bucks. Miami got in because of a bubble technicality, and we don't want to say that and admit that. Honestly, you'd have to speak and say, again, call me biased, but the Boston Celtics are legit the team that could dethrone them and beat them. No, I'm not going to sit here and say that. I'm not going to sit here and say that Kevin Durant is not a leader. Kevin Durant was the best player on the Warriors team.
We're not talking about stats, though. You're just talking about.
Okay, so what intangible leader? Okay, so what intangible do you need to be a leader?
To be able to rally the team around and just push it through. Kevin Durant was the leader in Oklahoma City. You see what happened to them? He lost and then he bolted. That's what happened.
But what intangibles aside? We're talking basketball. We're talking strictly basketball right now. So what intangibles are you telling me about leadership?
So who's beating them?
I never approach basketball as strictly stats. That is an insane way to approach basketball to me. The intangibles matter more in basketball than any other sport. And I'm having deja vu right now because before the season started last year, it was the Clippers. The Clippers are so deep. They got Kawhi. They got Paul George. They're going to the finals. They're going to win it all. And like multiple people in NBA media were sure they were going to the finals, just like people are sure the Nets are going to the finals. So to say that you're sure that it's going to happen now when there are clear issues with the Nets, there are clear issues. There's no leadership. You say that Kyrie's the best Robin. Kyrie thinks he's Batman, and he's not.
I don't think Kyrie's Batman. And on this team,
but he does. Kyrie thinks he's Batman. And that's
I'm still having a problem with you know what? I'm still having a problem with the intangibles about leadership. Okay, so what's really defined as leadership? Kevin Durant goes on the floor, goes down with the ACL injury or the Achilles injury, and the Warriors lose the championship. So what are we talking about here? He was the best, regardless of the intangibles of him being a leader or not. He was the best player on that team. They lose the finals, they get Kevin Durant, and they win 2 in a row. Like, how are we going to sit here and try to ignore that by telling me that he's not a leader? Like, that has nothing to do with playing the game of basketball. That has nothing to do with that. You're the best player.
Who's the best player in the Eastern Conference?
Like, come on, we can't sit here and ignore that Kevin Durant's the best player.
So that, you can't say Kevin Durant's the best player in the East because Giannis is rated.
He might be the best player after this season. Exactly.
Who's
What are you talking about here? Are you kidding me?
Who's better?
What are you talking about here? What?
Giannis is the reigning MVP. I'm sorry. Kevin Durant has to.
So you're going to tell me with a straight face right now on camera, Giannis is better of a basketball player than Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant might be better.
That's not the question you asked.
You haven't seen him play.
That's not the question you asked.
I'm old enough to remember when Kevin Durant played in 2019. He was probably at the peak of his powers. He's coming back 18 months from this injury. Explain to me. Should I go in? Hold on. Do you know the season got suspended in March, right?
Are you actually?
Wow. Okay, so let me ask this: Giannis is the best player. He has a superstar. Why didn't they make it to the finals?
Because of him.
They have a coaching problem.
Because of him.
Because they have a coaching problem.
No, 2 years in a row, Giannis gets shut down. He gets shut down by Kawhi Leonard. He gets shut down by Miami. But now you're telling me he's the best player in the league.
No,
but he's
hold
not.
on.
Like, I don't understand.
I'm just saying he's most valuable player.
No, he's not.
I'm just saying that. He's MVP. He has the
fine.
time.
That's fine, but he's still not better than Kevin Durant.
We don't know what Kevin Durant's going to be coming back to. If we're talking about 2019, 2018, Kevin Durant, then hell yeah. But right now, we don't know what 21 Kevin Durant's going to be.
We don't. I'm sorry. I've seen 2 games enough.
You're telling me that the Bucks are going to beat the Nets. Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, no, I never said that. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm talking about Giannis and Kevin Durant. Damn, you really. What kind of gymnastics did you do to get to that answer?
Let me take you down memory lane. Real quick. Maybe I can get my TV fixed, but I could show you what my TV showed me. In Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals against the number 5 seed Miami Heat, the Bucks had a 96-95 lead. Giannis goes 0-for-1 the rest of the game with 1 point. That is under the back-to-back MVPs watch, which we've held other MVPs to that standard. That's Game 1. Game 2, how about that, right? A time to tie the series, right? Maybe Game 1 was a fluke game. The Bucks had a 4 to 5 minute stretch in that game, in the fourth quarter rather, where they did not score a single point. Again, under the back-to-back MVPs watch. What about Game 3? Basically, your last hurrah to turn the series around. The Bucks enter the fourth quarter with a 87-75 lead. The Bucks get outscored 40-13. Giannis has 4 fourth quarter points, a box score plus minus to that game of -25. This is the back-to-back MVPs watch, and everyone ignores it because he won back-to-back MVPs.
I don't ignore it. I never said I ignored it. I don't.
Neither did I.
Because again, we know what Kenny Smith said in the regular season. You make your name, and in the playoffs, you make your fame. Giannis still has yet to make his fame in the playoffs. That's a fair assessment. Kevin Durant has, and I'm tired of people sitting here saying that. Well, he had to join a Warriors team. He was the back-to-back MVP. He's the reason why they won back-to-back. You replace Harrison Barnes with Kevin Durant, and you go straight to back-to-back finals. And then the third time they lose it because Kevin Durant didn't play. We can't sit here and disrespect Kevin Durant. We have to stop it. We have to stop it.
Warriors front office to flip Harrison Barnes into Kevin Durant.
You can't disrespect KD. He did what he had to do to win a championship. It is what it is. We can't sit here and say he wasn't the best player on the team because he strictly was. What did Steph Curry do without him? Come on, we have to stop that. We have to stop. Listen,
what did Steph Curry do without him?
He won a title without him.
Exactly.
That's what he did without him.
What is anyone in the East? You're still not proving to me who is beating.
That's very true. We're really avoiding that.
Sorry.
Sorry about that, man.
No, but strictly honestly, the Celtics have a lot of issues because they play too much hero ball. The Bucks still have issues. I don't think Drew Holiday is enough to get them past the Eastern Conference. And Miami Heat, yeah, they're a budding great team. Then you have Philly. There's a big question mark. Ben Simmons still can't shoot, and I don't believe Doc Rivers is going to help him shoot. So that's still a problem. So again, on paper, it's the Nets to lose. It's a fair assessment. There's no way.
I think Miami can take them out.
Why?
Because they came together year one with Jimmy Butler, made it to the finals. Yes, it was an unusual finals. Yes, it was an unusual season. But the chemistry is there. The play is there. Their young players are only getting better. Bam Adebayo is going to be a beast for years in the Eastern Conference. Plus their supporting cast. I don't think it's a given that they cannot take out the Nets. I don't think it's a given.
I mean, listen, I'd give the Heat a real fighter's chance to push the Nets probably 5 games. If you're going to ask me, I'll give them they could push them 5 games.
The only argument that we made that Jade made, which is a great one, is we all drank the Kawhi Kool-Aid and thought they were going to the Western Conference Finals.
I didn't.
You know, a lot of people drank that Kool-Aid. I'll be first to admit I did. And
I'll admit that too.
And they didn't. So that's the only fair thing that I could honestly say is that they collapsed. But I know what Kevin Durant when I see one, and I've been watching him since he came into the league, and it's very hard to bet against him.
I can't doubt Kevin Durant until he proves I have a reason to doubt him. There's no reason. And the Achilles injury, I'm not there yet. He's coming back 18 months, not 10 to 12 months, which a lot of other guys come back, is why we see like a Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, who didn't come back the same. One, he was a lot older. He was towards the tail end of his prime. And coming back 10 to 12 months is a significant difference mentally and physically than 18 months like Kevin Durant did. I know Carl hates the word if, but if Kevin Durant came back 10 to 12 months, I would probably have a different take on them right now. But this 18 months is totally changing my opinion on this.
One thing I will say, I don't know if there's anyone that can take down your Nets, but I think we're going to have to go with Jade. The Nets will be their biggest issue. Of just them trying to. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I'm just going to say that's what's going to stop them the most. Because like you broke down the talent that they have. They have some of the best talent in the East. Can they make it work under all these different variables? I'm not saying they can't, but can they? If they can, there's too many question marks for me with that. There's too many question marks.
It's a question that we should not ignore. Like, we're talking about two of the most polarizing guys in the NBA, and do not tell me it doesn't affect locker rooms, because that is bullshit. See Kyrie Irving in Boston. See Kyrie Irving anywhere without LeBron James. And he is a problem for his teams. So, like, you can't just go, oh, he's super talented, but all of his other dysfunction is not a factor. It's a factor.
No, hold on. But Kevin Durant, you could say is super thin-skinned. It's never affected his performance.
They both are. Both are.
Yeah, Durant's bothered by the noise, but it doesn't affect his play at all. At all. It does not. It's proven. That's a fact. That's not my opinion.
I'm not talking about just him. I'm talking about a team. Right? And you're talking about a team, and when he went to Golden State, that team was set. They knew who they were. They had their identity. They were already champions. There was no cultural issues. There was no questions about what kind of team are we going to be. That's not the case in Brooklyn. We're adding two superstars who are touchy, who say ridiculous things, who fight with children on the internet.
That is true.
And Kevin Durant left Golden State, and one of his main comments was, well, I didn't like that they liked Steph Curry better than me. That stuff matters.
But at the end of the day, though, that doesn't prevent the thing about basketball. We're talking about playing the game. That has nothing to do with playing. It has nothing to do with playing.
So explain the Clippers to me then. Explain the Clippers to me then.
You want to talk about
but we're talking about a similar situation. We're talking about
what happened with Kyrie in Boston. His first season in Boston, he led them to 60 wins before he got hurt.
That's not playoffs. That's not finals. I thought we were talking about
the Eastern Conference Final. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were one play away from winning it. And Kyrie led them to be the number one team in the Eastern Conference.
I mean, last time I checked.
Let me ask you a question, though. Let me ask you a question. What happened to Boston the following year? It had to do with Kyrie Irving, or the other guys wanted to play more time? Because Terry Rozier, guys like Marcus Morris, guys like Jaylen Brown wanted their egos filled up because they wanted the basketball away from Kyrie Irving. That had nothing to do with Kyrie. That had nothing to do with basketball.
Come on.
Come on.
If you're so saying about this chemistry issues, why would Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving team up to go to Brooklyn, which they had this pre-planned for months before?
Why did Paul George and Kawhi do it?
George Paul is not Kyrie Irving, first of all.
But it's a similar, when you look at the framework, it is a similar situation. And if you're going to say that it's not, you are insane.
It's different. I don't see it the same way.
First problem with that, the Western Conference is better than the East. That's number one. Number two, Kawhi Leonard is not better than Kevin Durant. George Paul is certainly not better than Kyrie Irving.
Let's not compare. Okay, let me rephrase it so we don't waste time on this. Let's not compare the teams. Let's compare the Clippers' expectations to what actually happened. Okay, because the situations are similar. You've got two superstars joining a team. You assume everything's going to work, and that is based solely on stats. That's why everybody thought it was going to work.
Superstars, you're not looking at a guy like Patrick Beverley and Montrezl Harrell who were upset that players are getting preferential treatment.
How do you know that's not going to happen?
And you're also talking about a coach in Doc Rivers who's overrated, basically who's given up more than three win leads.
I don't disagree with that.
That's the first agreement I've had of the day.
Come on,
I don't disagree with that. But now we're talking about a new head coach and a Mike D'Antoni who also never managed to reel in James Harden.
I'm not disagreeing with you that, but again, when it comes down to the pressure, when it comes down to clutch, and it comes down to playoffs, are you telling me you're going to bet against Kyrie Irving? Kill all the noise. Are you telling me in the playoffs you're going to bet against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, guys who have been battle tested and been proven in the finals?
Damn straight I am.
You're crazy. Then you're crazy. I can't tell you anything else. I'm sorry. You're crazy. I know I just bet you, but that's asking to believe. That, again, I'm not talking about the outside noise.
Thanks, Taylor.
Say that again?
I said, welcome to what I deal with every week.
Oh, listen.
I'm just the moderator. I let her talk, so usually I'm just like...
We're talking strictly basketball. We're talking X's and O's. We're
Okay,
talking plays.
Okay, this is where we are fundamentally on a different page. I never approach basketball as strictly X's and O's. I don't look at basketball that way.
But we have to again, and I understand.
I don't think we do have to. Men love to do that. I'm not a man. I'm going to do it different.
Listen, I understand your chemistry point. I understand that aspect of it. But at the end of the day, when guys get together in the locker room and they want to play and they want to win, and when you put that together and you put a formula like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, guys who played together in the Olympics, I believe it was 2016 when they decided they were going to get together with DeAndre Jordan. Come on, give them a chance. Just give them a chance.
They're better than the Clippers. The Clippers had special treatment issues, which is chemistry problem number one. That's what I didn't like. Like Carl said, I can't say.
But how can you assume that that's not going to happen in Brooklyn? You're assuming it's not going to happen.
Because they're not load managing for their own good, just to chill out. And the Clippers play in the basement of LA. So they're right there, and then wearing a Clippers jersey, you're already behind the 8 ball. That's my problem with them. And I still think that we're going to touch on the Clippers later, so I want to save that topic. But let's switch gears slightly. Would this be a stand on Kevin Durant's legacy if the Nets don't win a title this year?
No.
Why?
Because he already is he's already a two-time NBA champion, a two-time Finals MVP. He's already an MVP. He's already a scoring champion. What else does he need to accomplish? And again, this goes back to the narrative that the media and the fans put pressure that he has to win on his own. Like, no.
I'm so confused right now.
Kevin Durant does Kevin Durant go in the Hall of Fame right now? Does he go in the Hall of Fame? He retires right now.
Yeah. That's not always appropriate. No. See, stop cutting yourself short, number one.
I'm not cutting myself short. What else does he need to accomplish? He's won 2 NBA championships and 2 Finals MVPs. And he's accomplished everything. He's an Olympic gold medalist. What else does he need to accomplish?
Don't do that. Kevin Durant is the biggest wannabe.
I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is the criteria to have a successful NBA career? You tell me.
There's different criteria.
Answer my question. Answer my question. What are the criteria to be a successful player in the league?
Be the best player and have the best legacy you can possibly have.
Okay, in terms of what?
Winning with multiple organizations, winning as many championships as possible, Finals MVPs, try to break other guys' records. Kevin Durant is the biggest wannabe LeBron James of all time. Let's not act like that's not because it is. No, it is. He tries to copy him with the boardroom because LeBron has the shop. His moves they're different, but he's trying to do something similar. LeBron takes his talents to South Beach. joins his friends. Kevin Durant joins his enemies in Golden State and tries to uptick LeBron in terms of forming a super team.
I like that. Joins his enemies.
LeBron joins a big market team like LA. Kevin Durant does that with Brooklyn after they win a couple titles.
What else does he need to accomplish in his legacy? It's the same thing we're saying to LeBron. It's like, all right, well, so now every team he goes to, he has to win a championship. What else does he need to accomplish?
Listen, if you want to talk about him in the same space as LeBron,
thank you.
KD has to do it in Brooklyn.
Absolutely, 100%.
He has to.
They have a championship built team, and they are a top 2 favorite right now. In my eyes, there's no reason why they can't beat the Lakers. And I already said that they're going to coast through the East in 15 games, which actually will happen, barring injury. With that being said, if Durant wants to be the best player in the world, which he tried to claim to be, he thought joining the Warriors would do it, which literally does not. If there's any context behind it, him beating the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers or even the 2017 Cavaliers, that is not that impressive. When he joins a 73-win team and a guy like Kevin Durant, a superior scorer, a top 2 player in the world, of course they're going to coast to the title. Now when the expectations aren't there.
Well, LeBron did the same thing in 2010, so we're not going to get into that. So what are you talking about?
Well, it's not the same move. It is
the same thing. But go ahead. It is the same thing. When you join up with 2 other superstars and you go to a championship, it's the same thing. The goal is to win a championship.
Define the word same. Define the word same. Define the word same.
When you team up with 2 other all-stars and superstars to go to a championship, it's the same thing.
No. Now I gotta use your own logic. Answer my question. Define the word same. Define the word same.
The goal is to win a championship.
So if I Google the word same right now, is that where it's going to get me 2 superstars teaming up? If I Google the word same, I'm asking you. What is
correct? It is the same thing.
What does the Urban Dictionary say about the word same?
It's the same thing.
The word same means, if I'm going to educate you, I guess the students got teacher professor.
Sure, it's the same thing. Go ahead.
The word same means identical. Their moves were not identical. Is there some similarities of why they left? Sure. But their actual moves and the teams that they joined are not the same whatsoever. But we're not trying to get into that. Kevin Durant wants to be claimed as the best player alive, be a top 10 player, which people are trying to claim him to be. If he wants to be in that criteria, he needs to deliver where he's not the clear-cut favorite to win. LeBron did it in Cleveland when the odds were against him. The odds would be against Durant coming back from an Achilles injury, going against the best duo in the league in LeBron and AD, the defending champions, going up against the guy who people are trying to say that he is better than. This is a perfect opportunity to establish his legacy. A finals MVP with the Brooklyn Nets beating the Los Angeles Lakers, then I would say Durant has nothing left to prove. But right now, he has a lot left to prove. Lead a team, you being the clear anchor of this team, and show that you are better than everybody else on the court. Because he has not done that. The Golden State Championships did not really prove anything. Did he ball out? 100%. People don't understand the luxury of playing with a Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. We know Steph and Klay don't need the ball in their hands. When Durant has the ball, basically, is going ISO, right? There is so much other defenses have to worry about with Steph and Klay running on screen to screen. They're running around with a chicken without a head, coming off screens and shooting the lights out from 3. When Durant has a bad game, he's got 2 guys to pick him up. Now this is on him. If he's not the dominant guy, it's him, Kyrie, and they got role players. This is a real championship team, and I wouldn't call them a super team, but they are a great team. Durant needs to prove it this year with the Brooklyn Nets. There are 0 excuses outside of health.
You guys are sad. It's unfortunate. I let you talk because it's your show. I can't say anything. So it's sad. It's so sad.
Personally, if when I look at Kevin Durant, him not winning with the winning with the Nets, that doesn't change my view of him as a great player. Right. But we're talking about for him personally, I think kind of because this was his first chance of like you were just saying, being alpha dog, I'm going to take us to the title. This is his first chance at that since Oklahoma City. He blew it in Oklahoma City. I'll give it. He was young. That was a young team. And he was going against the super team of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, who had already been playing together for a year. But with this on the line, I want to see how Kevin Durant can carry this till the end of the year. Till the end of his contract is up. I want to see what he can do with length. Okay, say he doesn't win it this year. Can he bounce back and just even kill it next year? That's my biggest thing with it all is how's Kevin Durant? I don't lack confidence that he's not going to come back and kill it, but I'm just going to curious on what's his mindset going into it all. Does he know he has to be the alpha, or knowing that he's got Kyrie, does he feel like he can back off a little bit? But you've been proving all right points about Kevin Durant with it. I'm curious if he's thinking this is going to be worrying about that on his legacy.
It has to, of course.
For sure. That's the only reason to go to Brooklyn, is to fix the mistake that is going to follow him for his whole career in joining Golden State the way he did. That's the only reason to go to Brooklyn.
Okay, so I'm going to actually say his legacy will become better if he wins it with the narrative
that you're saying now, right? So let me get this straight. So it was a mistake to go win 2 championships and 2 finals.
In terms of how sensitive Kevin Durant is 100%. About how people see him, absolutely.
You guys, last week, you know what's funny? I had a debate with a good friend of mine that the media and fans don't make up narratives and put pressure on fans and put pressure on players. You guys are proving me wrong by basically putting pressure on Kevin Durant now that he has to win for his legacy.
Kevin Durant
is already established. He's in year what, 14 now? Or
if Kevin Durant feels pressure from people outside of his immediate circle and 100%. His team, that is his problem to deal with.
Carl, why did he leave? Carl, why did he leave then? If he could just keep winning championships in Golden State, why did he leave?
I don't know. You ask him. You go.
People have asked him.
I don't know. Ask him. Yeah, and I think he blamed the media
not having the shine. He doesn't like the media.
And I think the media
doesn't like him. He's a giant man-child.
Listen, and I think the media took part in blaming that and him having to say, listen, he wants to go show them that he could do it on his own. But for me, again, we're talking. Everyone has their own. He did it already. There's nothing that you could tell me about him not doing it. He established himself. Kevin Durant will probably go down as the greatest scorer in NBA history. What else does he have to accomplish? The greatest scorer. I'm talking about scoring the basketball. Yes, he could go down as the greatest scorer. He could go down as the greatest scorer. Kevin Durant is lethal.
No, he's not.
We're talking about easy money sniper Kevin Durant. And again, you guys are talking about intangibles, but when you're talking about watching the game of basketball and you're talking about Kevin Durant, he dominated on those Warriors teams. He was the best player. So
it's not important to dominate on that.
He established his legacy as a 2-time NBA Finals MVP and a 2-time NBA champion. What are we talking about?
No, there's
what else do you need to establish your legacy? It's the same thing as people saying, well, Steph Curry needs to show people that he could lead a team by himself. But Steph Curry is a 3-time NBA champion and he's a 2-time MVP. What else does he need to accomplish? Like, we have to stop creating narratives that are painting these guys to establish more of their legacies when their legacies have been established. We have legacies of players who won
Durant's legacy is not established.
Come on, man. We have to stop.
You cannot name me one.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is a 2-time NBA champion. Did he need more to establish his legacy? No. We have to sit here and say that. We have to stop this.
He's not the greatest of all time. You keep adding.
We have to stop. Dirk Nowitzki is a 1-time NBA champion and 1-time Finals MVP. Did he need more to establish his legacy? No. So what are we talking about? Like, we have to stop saying that. We have to stop.
You can't compare all those guys when there's different talent between all those guys.
That was stop saying that. It's not gonna diminish his legacy if he loses.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's not gonna diminish his legacy. He's still a champion.
It might not. Okay, well, it might not diminish where he is, but it will never erase the question mark that at this point will follow him forever in NBA. If he doesn't win in Brooklyn, the question mark never goes away.
100%.
That's what I was about to say. If he wins this year, that wipes the stain away from when he went to
But again, what stain, what question mark are we asking here? That he can't win? He was the best player on the Warriors. What are we talking about?
We're not talking about winning. We're talking about how you win.
Thank you.
Why does that matter?
How you win.
Why does that matter? It doesn't
matter. Why does Kevin Durant get the question?
Let me answer the question. Let me answer your question. If you're gonna ask me a question, let me answer it.
Please.
Why does it matter? If I go into a battle of wits with some dumbass, it is not as good of a win as if I win a battle of wits with someone on my level.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that because in NBA history, what player has done it by themselves?
I'm not saying by yourself.
No.
I'm not saying by yourself. Nobody said by yourself.
Because that's the fair question now, right?
Okay, listen. What we are saying is if Michael Jordan had left the Bulls to join the Pistons, right?
Yeah.
That never happens if you are Michael Jordan. There is no chance that you want to ring so bad that you're going to join the team that whooped your butt.
And you know what I'm going to tell you?
I
tell everybody again. I don't use ifs. We use facts. Everyone needs help to win championships. LeBron and all these players.
Basketball's a team sport.
Nobody is saying that. You are
Hold on, wait. Let me make a quick
You're
point here.
purposely missing the point.
No, I'm not missing the point because again,
when
it comes to basketball, players can't do it by themselves. You're either going to draft players Where you're gonna get
No, you're missing the point because I say something and you say your same point that's not actually related to what I just
There's
said.
no context behind it.
there's what?
You're not providing any context to what you're saying.
What context do I need to provide? I just gave you the blueprint to winning a championship is what?
Hold
You
on,
either draft players or you get superstars.
We're not like you're talking about
What's the
winning a
problem?
championship. You're talking about the winning. We're talking about how you win.
Okay, again, and how do you win a championship? Do you wait for a franchise?
No. Not how you get
course.
the trophy.
Tell me-
Not how you
No.
win.
Okay, so tell me, how do you win a championship?
Carl,
How
hold on,
do you
Carl.
win the championship then?
Carl, tell me with the straight face right now that winning a championship in Golden State is equally as impressive as him doing it in Brooklyn. Tell me that right now with the straight face.
What's to me? It's again, what's the difference in looking at the dynamic of the team? He still went to go team up with somebody else to do it. He still went to go team up with other players to do it though. That's the point.
You don't even believe that. You don't even.
No, again, you went to go to another team to go do it though. What's the difference when you're teaming up with superstars? LeBron went to go team up with 2 of the top 10 players in the league to win a championship. And
LeBron didn't join a team that just
go get in.
LeBron did not join a 70-plus win team.
We have to stop.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because this is the problem that the media and the fans have is that we sit here and we're like, well, you know what? Because he went and joined up with another guy in Steph Curry and the team that won 79 games, which lost an NBA Finals, by the way, that people seem to forget and don't mention that they lost the finals. We want to sit here and say, well, you know what? That's not fair. And now he has to re-cement his legacy by teaming up with another all-star to win more championships. Like, what? What are we talking about? Come on, guys. We have to stop doing that.
But that's been ingrained in sport, in every sports in forever about
that's a
having.
problem. But that's
just the world.
That's reality.
That's reality. That's what you have to deal with if you're a player. That's why they have stuff in contracts saying that you have to deal with media and stuff like that. I'm sorry, that's what you do when you're in sport. You deal with media, you deal with fans. No, you can't say you can't deal with that. That's being.
You can absolutely say, because at the end of the day, the goal is for yourself to build your own legacy. Kill the noise. At the end of the day,
you should be able to ignore it. People are just doing their job. What are we doing right now,
Carl, do players care about their own legacies? Do they?
Absolutely. Kevin Durant's legacy cemented. It's done.
Cemented? No, it's not.
It's done. Yes, it is.
Why is he
Do you want me to give you a list of what Kevin Durant has done in his career?
I don't care what Kevin Durant did with his career. You've already told us 3 times.
Wait, say it again. You don't care about what he's done in his career, but that's the point.
No, you've already told us 4 times. That's why.
And I'm going to tell it to you again, because for some reason we're not understanding and comprehending what a legacy means to a player. His legacy is cemented. He doesn't need
there's
to
only one person. There's only one person in 4 that is not understanding this conversation right now.
Why the conversation? I'm just not agreeing with what you're saying. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and try to say a guy who's in his 14th year in the league needs another championship. He may need it for himself, but for me, Kevin Durant is a done deal. I know what he's been proven to do. He's one of
the.
Wait, so is Kevin Durant's ring like mean just as much as Dirk Nowitzki's?
You guys want to get championship. You get quiet when you throw facts around. It gets real quiet when you throw facts around. No, it doesn't get quiet. No, because I'm not valuing championships. I'm sorry. I don't value.
How can you say that? You just spent the last 15 minutes talking about championships.
I don't rate and value. No, I don't rate them because we're gonna sit here and nitpick and say this championship means more than the other championship.
Guys, I can't.
Go right ahead and do it.
You're the biggest facts guy, but hates context.
It's not a matter of context, because we're going to sit here and value championships, right? So let me ask you a question. So Isaiah Thomas championships, they mean more. They mean less, right? Because Magic was hurt. That's what we're going to sit here and do. We're going to nitpick at championships. Wait, LeBron's first championship doesn't mean as much because guess what? It was during a short season.
I have a question.
I'm not finished. Let's do it because we want to sit here and try to do that. 2016 doesn't mean as much because Draymond Green was suspended, right? This year's championship doesn't. I'm not done. This year's championship doesn't mean as much because it was during the bubble. You see what I did?
No.
I spent it, right?
Okay, but wait though. How can you say?
Let me cook. Name one competitive advantage the 2012 Miami Heat had because of a short season.
They didn't have to play 82 games. What are you talking about?
First time when you throw facts on.
I just gave you the answer. You didn't let me answer. They didn't play 82 games.
Well, how does that make the Heat have a competitive advantage over everybody?
They played less games.
But
What are you talking about? You're playing less games in the championship to a road to a championship. You're playing less games than somebody else who plays 82. What are you talking about?
To the 99
Next question. Jordan played 82.
What?
What do you mean what? You played less games. You're playing less games.
Everyone else. So did everybody else.
Okay. This conversation.
Carl, so you're saying that the Miami Heat had a competitive advantage because the whole NBA played 66 games.
They played less games. I'm trying to use your example against
Wait. You want to bring up the 2016 finals? Cool. And is it fair to say Draymond Green's the third best player on that team?
That's fair.
Is it fair to say Kevin Love is the third best player on the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, Kevin Love didn't play in game. They won by 30, and then game 5, up 3-1, they get blown out.
Draymond still got suspended. He was their best defensive player. Next question.
But the third best player for the Cavs didn't play in game 3, and they still won by 3 down.
Next question. Draymond got suspended. He was their best defensive player. Next question.
So it doesn't matter. The Cavs' third best player was out then, and they still won by 30 down 2-0.
No.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Why does that not matter? But it matters
because Kevin Love wasn't playing up to his stature during that series.
I mean that is true. The third best player.
He wasn't a factor in that series. Next question.
Oh, so
I have one.
Again, go ahead, sure, please.
Okay, so here's why I'm confused about the direction this conversation is taking. Because as far as I'm concerned, your credibility is shot. Because you spent 15 minutes telling us how Kevin Durant's got all his rings and that cements his legacy. And then you turned around and said, I don't rate rings. They don't matter.
This is what you guys tried to do. You basically tried to tell me one championship is
You're not addressing what I said.
I am addressing what you said.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are. Because when we're talking in terms of valuing championships, I mean by saying this championship means more than somebody else's. How can you sit there and tell a player that one other player's championship means more when they both won the championship? That's what I was trying to tell you. You can't sit here and that's like both of us winning Employee of the Month. You're going to sit here and tell me, well, your Employee of the Month meant more than mine did. What?
I can't do the work of 3 people.
You don't know the value and hard work I put into winning my Employee of the Month award. How can you sit here and tell me that his means more than mine?
Because there's context behind it.
How? Who are you to tell me that my championship means less than the other person?
Context is important. So for your Employee of the Month analogy,
we have to stop doing that. We have to stop doing. Listen, I'm here to change the media narrative. We can't sit here and tell one player that their championship means more than the other players.
Why is Kevin Durant in Brooklyn then? Why is Kevin Durant in Brooklyn?
We can't do that.
You can't do that. Hold on. In the words of Carl Collage, players play basketball to win championships. So why is Kevin Durant not in?
3 reasons. I gave you 3 reasons why players play basketball. They play for passion because they love it. They play to get paid, and they play to win championships.
Sure. So why is Kevin Durant not in Golden State right now?
That's Kevin Durant because again, the media and the fans told him to. That's why. That's why he's there. Because you guys
he didn't have to go. Man up, Kevin.
It's our fault. As a grown ass man.
It's the same thing. You guys are going to tell me about why he went to Golden State. Oh,
no. Wait, I have a question though. I have a legitimate question. How is it my fault or anyone else's fault about a grown ass man making his own decisions?
Because from what they've told me, and again, this is what they've told me is that the media and the fans put pressure on athletes to cement their legacies.
Okay, but they still make the decision.
But again,
the player still makes the decision.
Correct, and I agree with you. I agree with you.
The decision, so don't blame it on the media. Don't blame it on me.
But again, from what they told me, and again, fans have agreed.
He can't handle the media. That's his problem. It's not
what they've told me. From what they've told me in my experience in dealing with fans and dealing in media, people have told me that the media and the fans put pressure on players for their legacies. Hence why Brandon asked the question that he asked.
So get off Twitter if he can't handle it.
Wait, why
get out of the kitchen?
Why wouldn't this be a stain on Durant's legacy if they don't make the finals or even win the finals when they're the clear favorites to get it out of the East?
Because his legacy's already been, again, to my opinion, his legacy, he's already a 2-time NBA champion. He's already a 2-time finals MVP. He's going. The only other thing
the rings don't matter. Let's not forget the rings don't matter.
That's not what I said. But again, I'm going to let you know. But again, I'm letting you know right now. The only thing that Kevin Durant needs that it's already done, deal with, is what? The Hall of Fame. The first ballot Hall of Fame. He already has it. Championship ring, check. Finals MVP, check. MVP, check. I think he's a 50-40-90 club, am I right?
Yeah,
scoring champion, check. Olympic gold medalist, check. He checks all the accomplishments and all the accolades that you need to have a successful legacy career.
Players don't put ceilings on her. Okay, I want to be this good and then stop. Why did LeBron go back to Cleveland? Why did LeBron go back to Cleveland?
To fulfill a promise. That's why he went back. Because he had a promise that he made to his town. Yes, he had a promise. That's the reason he went back.
And what else?
Are you kidding me? That's what he wrote back. When he wrote back in the Chronicle of the Tribune, the Players Tribune, to say he's going back to Cleveland. He literally said, "I made a promise. I came back to fulfill my promise." Did he not say that?
Yes. Hold on.
Was that the primary reason?
Was
that the primary reason? Answer my question. Was that the primary reason he went back?
We didn't ask if it was the primary reason. We asked.
Now we're not asking if the primary reason. All right, I understand. It's not convenient.
What did LeBron say on podium in a Miami Heat jersey? What's his motivation?
Oh, he said not 6, not 7, not 3.
But what did LeBron say his motivation was?
You would know because you read all his books. Tell me.
Right. To be the greatest of all time. Was 2 championships enough in South Beach? People wanted to see if he could go back to Cleveland.
You said that. Did Kevin Durant say that?
What?
Did Kevin Durant say that? No. We're using quotes now. Did Kevin Durant say that?
Kevin Durant would never say it out loud because he's a sucker.
But now we're changing it, though, right? You see what I'm saying? Now we're changing it. Kevin Durant has never said it. Kevin Durant has never said that.
Durant said that he was mad that people didn't claim him as the best player in the world, winning championships in Golden State. So why is he in Brooklyn now? Because it would be a perfect opportunity when the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers with the best score in the league he can go toe-to-toe with LeBron.
That's not what you're saying. But again, you're asking me, does it stain his legacy? No, because guess what? What do we look when we look at a player's legacy? What do we look at? We look at their accomplishments and their accolades, individual and teams. I'm giving you context. You look at a team's accolades and you look at their individual accomplishments. What has Kevin Durant done in the league to prove to you that he has a legacy cemented already? He's been a Rookie of the Year. He's been a scoring champion. He's been a Finals MVP. I'm tired of saying it. What else do you need for him to accomplish as a legacy for him to have into his legacy?
Win a title where the expectations aren't for you to win. When you are counted out and when you are the underdog in a finals. Lead a team.
He wouldn't be the underdog because you just told me that they're the favorites to win. So what did you not say that?
I said they will make the finals in under 15 games. I did not say they're the favorites to beat the Lakers because they are not. But it is absolutely realistic. I would have no surprise rather to see them upset the Lakers in the finals. That is what I said. Again, stop trying to take everything I say out of context, as you're famous for doing that.
I'm not.
All right.
That sounds like me talking to Jade. That sounds like me talking to Jade. Oh my God.
That was a great topic. But the Nets are playing the Golden State Warriors tonight, and unfortunately, it breaks my heart that Klay Thompson will be out a second straight year. So to that, I say, what is the ceiling for the Golden State Warriors entering this season?
Can I start? Because they have my old Andrew Wiggins, that bastard.
Sure.
So bunch of wasted talent. I got them at best going 5th seed at best, primarily because of Steph. Andrew Wiggins is good for once every 5 games where he'll just go off. I'm a former season ticket holder for the Timberwolves. Like, I have seen him where games where it's like, oh, this is the number 1 talent you get. And then you'll get 5 games of like nothing from him. And when I mean nothing, I mean he'll put up a stat sheet of 12, 1, 2, and 3 turnovers. Like, he'll put up that kind of numbers. And you'll be like, well, where was he all night? And Kelly Oubre Jr., I love him, but he's still kind of young. And there's still some rawness I want. Wiseman, he's young. Like, they're going to be relying a lot on their veterans this year. Draymond's going down. I'm a huge Draymond fan, but I'm going to admit he's past his prime with it. He had a quick prime, and then he's kind of gone down. Granted, it's because they had more responsibilities thrown at him, and he's had to deal with injuries. But I got them ceiling 5th, realistically 7th. I got them 7th just because also the Western Conference is so freaking stacked right now. Like, if they had Klay, I'd be putting them top 3. But they're going to have Wiggins. Wiggins I thought was going to do fine because all the attention was going to be off him. That was his biggest thing. All the attention's on me. Oh God, like, shit, I can't do anything. Because one thing that he has shown in the league, he can get buckets efficiently. Does he do everything else? But he's walking 18 points. But they're going to need him to step up even more in a more competitive team. With the Timberwolves, I mean, we're still not competitive. So, I mean, like, really, he could just show up to JV practice, just make sure he got broke a sweat, and then leave and be totally fine. In Golden State, there's some new expectations that he has to fulfill. And he thinks that Timberwolves fans are relentless for not pulling his weight. Go to a championship winning team and doing the same kind of effort he pulled there. He's going into year 6 or 7. He is what he is. And
I disagree with that totally. I think Andrew Wiggins is going to be a lot better on Golden State than you've seen him consistency-wise. Not necessarily that he's going to take a big step up in like his points per game and his percentages.
If Clay was there, yes. With the injury to Clay,
I still think so, because the part that you didn't talk about is the organization.
That's very true. He's a confidence player.
Players who develop in organizations that are strong are better than players who spend their first few years in organizations that are not. And the Timberwolves are not a good organization, clearly, for developing young talent. They haven't developed that skill set yet. I'm hoping they do now with the new guys that they have coming in, and they're going to figure out how to do that. But taking a player who has only ever played for a losing organization and putting him in the winning organization is the guarantee no. But there's a good chance that he's going to learn better habits. He's going to learn how to work harder. He's going to have veteran leadership that he hasn't had on the same caliber as he had in Minnesota while he was there. So I think he's going to be more consistent. Instead of 1 in 5 games, I think he's going to show up 3 or 4 out of 5.
I will say he's got the confidence there. He's a confidence-based player.
I think the X factor will be Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre was a nice pickup for the Warriors. It's the same thing I said in the last segment where, people put pressure on Steph Curry. Could he do it alone? And that he needs to cement his legacy by winning without Kevin Durant. That whole stupid narrative. I think the Warriors. I think again, the West is the West. You have Dallas, you have Portland, you have the Clippers, the Lakers, Denver. It's stacked.
Utah.
So there's so many teams that they'd be lucky they get.
That's why there's 10 teams going into the
playoffs. In the regular season, there would be winning teams for sure in the West that don't.
But I think it goes as far as Steph takes them. Honestly, it really comes down to the other pieces. Can Jameis Winston definitely be a X factor in the middle for him? It all comes down to, I think, Steph Curry at the end of the day.
This is like an interesting topic. I'm a big believer. I have this whole 2021 NBA season figured out. I feel like I could literally tell you everything that's going to happen. MVP, Final Four.
Why are we here?
And then you'll be wrong. And you'll be wrong again. No, he's the same guy that told me that he could be a better coach than Frank Vogel. He's the same guy that told me. He did. Come on, don't believe Falco when Falco talks. I have a notebook. I have a notebook of Falco takes. Trust me. That Falco told me. Trust me.
Wow.
Yeah, he did. He did say he's a better coach than Frank Vogel. I couldn't believe that one. That one goes beyond words.
I like how you said, yeah, I said it. Whatever. I stand by it.
Go ahead, Falco. Go ahead, man.
I forgot.
You forgot about that one. He did say that. He did. He got that one.
I always forgot I said that. That was logic behind that. But on the other hand, the Golden State Warriors, I absolutely have no idea what I'm going to expect.
But you have it all figured out.
You didn't finish my point. I said I'll tell you the MVP, Final Four, champion, Finals MVP, all that. Eastern Conference Finals, how many games it's going to take the Nets to get there. I really believe I have that all figured out. The Golden State Warriors, I have no idea what to expect. With Klay Thompson, I'd probably pick them to maybe get the 1 seed. I'm dead serious. I would actually consider them getting the 1 seed in the West and make the Western Conference Finals. Without Klay, the whole dynamic of that team changes. They do not have the same three-point shooting without him, obviously, than with him. With that being said, I could see them finishing literally anywhere between the 4 seed and the 10 seed. Yep. I think at the end of the year, the 4 to 10 seed may be a difference of 2 to 3 games. I'm dead serious. Like the middle of the pack of the West is so close, and nobody is better than the other. I think there's 3 outlier teams who are going to have the top 3 records in the West. Obviously, the Lakers, definitely the Flippers, and then the Denver Nuggets. I think those will be the top 3 seeds. After that, it is wide open. The development of James Wiseman, like if he could be a a better player than like the guy that we think he's coming out of college, that will boost him tremendously. I'm not fond of the Andrew Wiggins contract whatsoever.
No one is.
Yeah, I think that's a brutal contract.
No one is.
I really believe Bob Myers is just that dude that he's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
Oh, yeah.
Still expecting him to make a big splash during the season to make a trade. Maybe dump Draymond and Andrew Wiggins. No one knows what's happening with James Harden now. I made a take on my platform, the Falcon Takeaway. I said the Warriors should make a last-minute push to acquire James Harden. And I feel like of all the teams that could do it, the Warriors have the assets to do it. The Brooklyn Nets, I hated that idea. I don't think they have the assets.
That's a horrible idea.
I don't think there's any reason why the Nets should do it. The Sixers, I've heard. I don't know for sure. I'm not Adrian Wojnarowski. I heard the Sixers don't want to give up Ben Simmons. I heard now that I think Woj reported that the Heat are out of the sweepstakes now.
Yeah.
James Harden has basically said that he wants out. A guy that I trust would make a big splash like that is a Bob Myers. If that's the case, I guess you could see the Warriors going to the Western Conference.
On my show, they said it best. Harden's going to get shipped to Siberia. They're going to send him to like a Utah or Denver.
Yeah, I can see that.
One of those teams that really don't need him. That's where he's going.
I want him to go to Cleveland just to be put into like the middle of nowhere. Like when I mean like nowhere, I literally mean like in the country, and when it comes to where that team's direction is.
Yeah,
they have no clue what's going on.
JaVale McGee and Andre Drummond, Eastern Conference Finals.
Like for real though, like I don't want him to go to a team where he can find success right now. He's gotten to a point where like I don't want him to go to Golden State.
Don't want to hear about him. Don't want to see him.
I don't want to.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Since I've been watching basketball since 2002, Golden State has been part of my top 4 franchises of all time. It's Timberwolves, Dallas, Golden State, and then Raptors. There you go, Jade. I got your Raptors in there for you. But I don't want to see James Harden mess up the Golden State Warriors. I don't want them to make – I like the chemistry that team has. I feel like it's a very positive environment. It's an environment that everyone should and would want to play for. James Harden, I don't want to ruin that chemistry with it because he would. Because
Harden ruin that.
That's why I don't want him in Toronto too. I don't want him here.
I could see that. But the thing is, the Raptors probably won't want to give up Siakam, which the Rockets will ask for.
No, yeah, the players that they're going to be asking to give up, like Wiggins is not worth 100, isn't worth the contract he's worth. So they're not going to. James Harden has way too many cons than there are pros right now for the Warriors, at least. Warriors already kind of have some.
For a lot of teams, there's too many pros to really consider taking Harden on right now.
There's not enough pros to take Harden on?
Not enough pros, yes, thank you.
The problem is it's just a return. It's like no Rockets GM is gonna they're gonna want draft picks or a budding superstar or a star.
Right.
It's the same thing. Like I heard rumors about him going to Boston. Right, I'm a Celtics fan. Like Danny Ainge would be crazy. Like his return would have to be either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. You know, no one's going to trade.
Why would you do that? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you do that? So I think if you go whatever team he goes to, you have to give up your core for him. You have to give up pieces or draft picks in order to acquire someone like James Harden. So like, say Bob Myers decided he wanted to pull the trigger. That means Klay Thompson's on the hot seat. Like you telling me, and to me as a basketball mindset, I'm thinking to myself, if you're telling me I can get James Harden, I want Klay Thompson. I'm not going to give a deal without Klay being on the table.
I wouldn't see Golden State doing it because yes, Klay is out, but he's out for just 1 year. Yes, ACL injuries are rough, but he is a shooter. So he doesn't have to worry too much about jumping up or anything like that. He already has established on who he is as a player. Will it be affecting the way he cuts around corners and stuff? Possibly. But shooting is always there, regardless of age or health and stuff like that. So why put a Band-Aid of James Harden instead of, okay, take this team you have now, build up some of the chemistry with the younger players, just put Klay Thompson in next year, because I say Klay Thompson and Bradley Beal are two of the players that you can put in within any system within the NBA, and that team will become more successful. They're like some of the few players where you plop them in anywhere, they already know their spot. That's what Klay Thompson is. That's not James Harden. James Harden wants the ball.
And you have to build around James Harden because he spent so many years being the focal point of an offense. I don't think he actually has the skills to not be in that role 100% of the time.
His biggest downfall, James Harden, is he hasn't heard the word no since he left OKC.
Not enough times.
He has not heard the word no.
Well, you guys know already how I feel about James Harden, so that's neither.
We got one more guest coming. Coach.
Falco, what up, man?
What's up, Coach?
How you doing? How's everybody doing today?
Good.
What's going on? So before we switch gears, Coach, what is the ceiling for the Golden State Warriors?
Man, that's a tough question. I'd say the ceiling if you have to really just no bias, because I like Steph Curry, so sometimes my ceiling gets a little higher because of my likeness for the player. But I would say, honestly, getting to the playoffs right now, the West is tough. You got to fight every day in the Western Conference. And I think if you get to the playoffs and you get I would say not the 8th seed just because of your lineage and what you've done. But if you get a 6 or 7 seed, I think that's a successful season without Klay Thompson, without one of the focal points of their offense. James Wiseman is a great talent from college basketball, but we don't know yet what he's going to do his first year in the NBA. And for bigs, the game speeds up when you get to the NBA. It takes the bigs a couple months, a couple years to really, reach their peak. And, the West is a monster.
I got to ask you, he's our Adrian Wojnarowski. Is there any chance the Golden State Warriors trade for James Harden? Any chance?
No, not. I mean, there's a chance in anything in life, but I would say no. I just don't see that they're a system. It's like in college basketball. You guys know I'm more in college basketball than NBA, but I love the NBA. But if you go to Virginia, you're going to play defense and you're going to score in the 60s. Almost every game, you're going to lock up. You're going to play defense. If you lose a game, it'll be 60-51, but you're going to keep your team in the 60s. That's the type of players they get. They don't usually get one-or-done players. They get team guys who stay for 4 years. Golden State plays a certain type of way. They move without the ball. You pass, you cut. Nobody holds the ball for 15 to 20 seconds. So you're not going to have Steph play on a team like that. He's the franchise player. He's the guy that you put everything behind, and that system has proven to work. So before I go trade everything in the house for James Harden, I'm going to say, you know what? Maybe we don't win the championship again this year, but if James Wiseman turns out to be a good piece, if Oubre turns out to be a surprising rejuvenation player in Golden State, let's see if we can get Klay back and run our system. I'm not going to change my whole system for James Harden when we've won 3 championships. It just doesn't make sense.
Fair enough. So now I want to switch gears right now. The Los Angeles Clippers, they had it as a disgusting of a choke job as we could have imagined. I said that this Clippers team reminds me of the 2011 Miami Heat a little bit. Their narrative after the season is similar. Identical, no. But I think there are some similarities about the narrative in terms of what the media said throughout the season in 2011 and what the narrative was in 2020, and both teams finished with an epic choke job. So, Jade, I want to start with you. Are the Clippers being slept on entering the season because of the bubble choke job?
I think a little bit. NBA fans are notoriously sensitive to recency bias. And what we remember recency is a lot of drama coming out of LA. But they still have Kawhi Leonard. They still have Paul George. They moved Harrell, who was reportedly one of the more vocal people about the preferential treatment, and brought in Serge Ibaka, which I felt I had some pretty strong feels about that. But I think Ibaka's ability to mesh the team together a little bit, because him and Kawhi are buds. They got pretty close the year that he spent in Toronto. And it's not a surprise to me that that's the guy that Kawhi reached out to during the offseason. So I think if they can tone down some of the dysfunction, the ability of the players is going to come through. Now, with that said, Paul George has to show up in the playoffs. No amount of anything else that they figure out in the regular season matters if Paul George doesn't show up again in the playoffs.
Carl?
It's only time will tell. I mean, again, you have players who were upset of different treatments of superstars. Again, Paul George finally is taking some form of accountability for his playoff actions. So I think, and Jade said it best too, when you bring in, like, I was high on Serge Ibaka. He's actually one of the players I wanted to Boston out of the free agency. He's definitely a good glue guy, knows how to win too. former NBA champion. So I think guys just need to understand their roles. And I think earlier on we talked about where, guys didn't know what their roles are. I think if guys understood their roles, it'd make things a little bit easier. And Ty Lue has been able to coach, key caliber players in that situation. So are we sleeping on them? It's always a matter of what have you done for me lately in the NBA? They got eliminated in the bubble. So, it is what it is. So until they can prove themselves worthy, the jury is still out on the Clippers.
Tower?
Well, I had them winning it all last year, so that's embarrassing on my point with it. I don't think they're being slept on so much because, everyone knows they're going to do well. I think they might be slept on how quickly everything will be able to gel, because what I saw when they brought in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard was they took that gritty team that they had the year before that slid into the 8th spot and just grinded it all out, and they brought 2 very diva-like players that I'm not saying they don't know how to get down and dirty, but the personality types were not there. What the Clippers, I thought, was last year was let's put a bunch of talent together and let's just hope it works. Kind of like what Philadelphia did a couple years ago when they also got Tobias Harris and then Al Horford and Josh. How they're just like, we're going to get all this talent together and we're going to see if it works. And this talent that Clippers had did not blend well because too many personality clashes. Now with Doc out, pretty much a new team, a new identity that revolves around Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I think they could. I'm not sleeping on them, but I can see why the rest of the league might be sleeping on just because of so much. Like Jade said, playoff Paul George has to return.
Coach?
Yeah.
Finish.
Oh, no, that was it. That's my final thing. Playoff Paul has to return.
Coach?
I think, like Carl said, we're all speaking the same language. I think, we all are. We're in the moment. That's what NBA fans are. That's what fanatics are. We're in the moment. Whatever is happening right now, what's most recently in our mind is what we think about. Just to touch on, the preferential treatment of players. I mean, that happens. Let's. This is the grown man's league. Let's understand that happens in the NBA. The star players get preferential treatment. It's just what happens. We just saw The Last Dance. Dennis Rodman was in Vegas, and then they went and he didn't have to go to practice. They went and got him and brought him to practice, and it all was well because they won the championship. But you got to win. I think this is good for the Clippers. They need that to just start again. Just start over. Like don't have that pressure of you just got Kawhi, you just got the sweepstakes. Everyone was saying you were the team to beat. You're saying we own LA now. Now you don't own LA. You got to just play ball, and that's what you got to worry about. Try and play and see what you can do at the end of the season.
Preaching to the choir, Coach. I've been trying to say that for the last hour about playing basketball, and people have not been listening. I've been saying this, man. It's basketball, man. Come on.
But listen, I tell you this, Falco, before I finish, I tell you, fans may be sleeping on the Clippers, but players aren't. Players know when you get in between those lines, the Clippers are going to be a tough team to beat, and anybody who has a player like Kawhi Leonard, who has a known winner, a glue guy like Serge Ibaka, they're going to be tough to beat in a 7-game series. It's not act like Denver didn't have to play above their means. Guys made superstar leaps during that playoff series in order to beat them in the bubble. Now things are getting a little back to normal. Guys will be able to play in their arenas. If everything stays the same, hopefully, God willing. So fans, we sleep on them, but I think the players still know that in the West, they still will have a say in terms of what happens.
The Clippers are being heavily slept on. A few things. Their special treatment last year, I think, destroyed their chemistry. Guys were in and out of the lineup. They never had a consistent lineup that they were going with in a night-to-night basis. A lot of people said that was going to be a big deal. I never really bought into it. Doc Rivers, I'm not fond of. I know Carl could agree with that too. He's had too many playoff choke jobs. He's had too many disappointing outings. I'm glad he's gone. Ty Lue, I think, is a huge upgrade. Ty Lue has proven he could deal with superstars. We know he dealt with LeBron and Kyrie when they won the NBA championship when he took over. Right, that's number one. Number two, the load managing between Kawhi and Paul George really has got to stop. I can't stand it. There is no scientific logic to saying that for someone to take a Joe Schmo Tuesday off in January or February or December is going to make you a better player come May and June. There's no scientific evidence to that. And this year, The Clippers didn't get worse. They actually got better. Serge Ibaka I think is an upgrade. If you're going to ask me, you can make the argument between Montrezl Harrell or Serge Ibaka. I think a lot of people are sleeping on them because the Lakers did get better. That's number one. And number two, I bring up the 2011 Miami Heat. Their narrative that whole season was the Heat are going to win. They're the best team in the league. And what happened? The pressure got to them, and especially their best player in LeBron, and that's where the meltdown happened in the NBA Finals. This year in the Western Conference semifinals, this was the first time Kawhi Leonard had expectations to deliver a title. In 2014, the San Antonio Spurs, he was the third option. He was not expected to deliver or carry a heavy load. In Toronto, they were the underdogs the entire time throughout those playoffs. So Kawhi was able to just go out and play ball. And now, and then entering the 2019-2020 season, Kawhi had the commercials that LA's his city, had his crown keychain, was basically worried about taking shots at LeBron the whole season instead of actually playing basketball. I think the 5-month layoff killed them. I think that killed their chemistry. And once the bubble came, I don't think they were mentally prepared for it. I believe I know Carl's going to kill me for that, but if the season was resumed or never had a pause, I think maybe we could have seen a different outcome with the Clippers. We would have got the Battle of LA. But don't sleep on the Clippers this year. I could absolutely see them getting the number 1 seed in the West, and I believe we will get the Battle of LA.
That's your LeBron bias right there. You always try and downplay. That's the LeBron. I know the LeBronians when I see him, man. I know what y'all do. I know a LeBronian when I see one. You guys lower the expectation for the Lakers. You make everybody that much better. No, the Lakers are the best team in the NBA.
When did I say that?
You said I can see the Clippers winning the first. What made you see the Clippers winning the first?
I said they can get the number 1 seed. That does not correlate to getting.
What makes you think they can get the number 1 seed, though? What have they done to get the number 1 seed? The Lakers got better also.
Hold on. The Lakers, I think, are going to do a lot of load managing, especially with LeBron. Here's the thing with the Lakers. The Lakers got the number 1 seed last year because LeBron had a chip of his shoulder for guys like you who hate him.
Didn't you just say that? Didn't you just say that load managing doesn't work? So why do you think the Lakers are going to do it this year?
Because he's in year 18, and then the short.
So it works. So that conveniently works for LeBron. You see how this works, right? You see how this works. I see you.
I didn't say I agree or disagree with it. I said that's what he's going to do.
You just said you disagree with load managing, and you have no factual evidence about a player doing it.
When did I say that LeBron should? I said he will. I can't control that. I'm not Frank Vogel, and I'm not LeBron. He's going to literally load manage. He's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play very hard on defense like he did last year. And I do believe he's going to take games off. I think he's going to have the lowest points per game in the regular season he's had in probably.
So hold on. So time out. So Kawhi just won a championship the year before. He proved he could win a championship. He moves to LA. He load manages because he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. LeBron wins a championship. This year you think he's going to load manage because he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder.
I didn't say I agree or disagree with what he's doing. I just said he's going to do it. I just said he's going to do it.
LeBron already said he doesn't believe in load management. He doesn't like it.
I don't. He's going to do it, though. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it, he's going to do it. That's
LeBron James has already load managed. He just does it in games.
That's fair.
After he gets his stats, though, you got to get those. You got to get the numbers.
You up for bad mouthing LeBron. We know how Falco does.
Well, I think LeBron had the whole narrative revenge season 17 after everyone counted him out after the Lakers didn't make the playoffs and he had his groin injury. So he felt entering that season he had something to prove. That's why I think he tried to play as many games as possible, lead the league in assists, right? He played defense. We've seen him play defense that well for the first time in probably 5 years since the Miami days. So this year, title expectations, I think he's going to do whatever he needs to do to get the Lakers in a decent play. Like I think the Lakers will be a top 3 seed. I think it'll be like the Clippers, Nuggets, and then Lakers. That'll be the top 3 seeds. You could argue the order, but I could definitely see the Nuggets or the Clippers getting that 1 seed. I do.
This is interesting to me because I am not a LeBron person. Not a big fan of his. He's an incredible basketball player, no doubt. Like I'm not crazy. I don't like the guy. But to me, if you are a LeBron James fan,
it's more of a personal thing than it is a player thing.
If you are a LeBron James fan and LeBron is that guy, he's coming out playing hard every game. He's not going to take time off. He's not going to take plays off. He's not going to miss defensive trips. Like that's the thing I don't understand about LeBron James GOAT people. Like, my GOAT is showing up for every play. He's showing up for every game. He's not gonna, LeBron's not playing defense today because he's whatever. He's LeBron. He doesn't have to. I think Jalen Rose said it best on preseason game. The Lakers are living their best life right now, and they need to be the 1 seed from where they are, as far as I'm concerned.
Why do they need to be 1 seed? How is that going to affect them in the playoffs?
It's not going to affect them in the playoffs. But
Exactly.
if LeBron is that guy, he needs to do it all season.
Sure, he's in year 18. He's done it as long as anybody.
I got a question though. We're gonna talk about GOATs because I don't want. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let you go because I don't want to get into it.
Next topic. That's next.
I don't want to get into it.
Hold on, real quick with that. But all I'm saying is, I think LeBron's points per game will probably be the lowest he's had in 15 years. I think he's going to be below 25 points a game this year, which I don't think he's done in 15 years.
Unless he's chasing Kareem, because he has to keep a pace up in order to pass Kareem.
Right. I still think he's going to take nights off. I don't think he's going to play a lot of defense. I think he's going to try to put as little effort into this as possible to get the Lakers a top 3 seed. Because obviously the Western Conference Finals, if the Clippers have the 1 seed, the Lakers.
He has AD on his team. He
has Montrezl Harrell.
You couldn't do that.
You can really back up all season.
And having the luxury of Anthony Davis is a complete cheat code. The dude is the best big man by a wide margin. Having him, I think AD is still going to get his numbers. I think AD could be a real MVP candidate, like actually win the award. I think the top 3 candidates will be Luka 1, Giannis 2, 83. I think any of those guys.
That Luka push is crazy.
Why?
That Luka push. Listen, what place they finished last year? 5th? Was it 6th, 7th? 7th. They had one good series where they took a Clipper team that then lost to the Denver Nugget team to the brink. So we gave him credit for a series where he lost. I don't see that a lot. This is when the NBA starts to push their narrative.
Dude, KP missed basically the whole series. You can't ignore that.
And
I'm not
MVP
ignoring
is a regular season award last night, check.
So I don't know where Luka takes this jump to. They have to. All right, you know what? If they finish top 3, the Dallas Mavericks have to finish top 3.
Top four.
For me, I'm saying top 3. For me,
in the West, top 4.
In the West,
I would say top 4.
Yeah, right, top 4. Top 4, and he has to put up the same numbers he put up in that playoff series to be MVP candidate. Because I just felt like the NBA does this, and we know they do it. They need a new star. They thought it was going to be Embiid. It's pumping the process. They already got Giannis. He was the star. They got the international flavor. NBA is all about marketing. They're all about their money. So Luka is the next golden child. But I'm like, somebody else has to give it up yet. I still got, as long as LeBron, AD, Giannis, he has to kick down that door during the regular season.
LeBron's not winning MVP. The only 3 candidates I can really see is
he's not going to win it.
Is AD, Luka, and Giannis. Giannis has a disadvantage because of voter fatigue. AD is playing with LeBron, so the media made up the narrative that you can't have get MVP with a top 5 player next to him. Luka's that guy. If he could elevate them better to what they are expected to do, a top 4 seed and he puts up similar numbers that he did last year. I think he went like 29, 9, and 8. There's no reason he can't get the.
Allow me to be biased for a second. Don't sleep on my guy Jason Tatum.
Dude, you don't even believe that though.
I do believe it. Don't sleep on my guy Jason Tatum. Let's not do that. Let's not do that because he had arguably the
not
best.
With Brad Stevens, bro.
Let's not do this. Let's not do this. Let's not do this to Jason Tatum. Okay, let's give him his flowers. Let's give him his respect.
Jason Tatum is a very good player. That does not mean he's an MVP caliber.
Yeah, I don't think
we were talking about Jason Tatum in the second half of the season before we went to the bubble. Now let's not stop. He had a great second half. Let's not start here. Let's not start there. You want to look at numbers? Jason Tatum had one of the highest scoring averages in that second half of the season before the bubble came about, and also in the bubble as well. So again, I'm the same team now. Jason Tatum, he could finish 4th in that. He could finish 4th in that conversation.
The one thing I do with the Luka thing, though, is Luka elevates all of his players to being better. Boston's already got a great team. You already got a great team. So I'm not knocking Jason Tatum's talent. The guy is ridiculous. For me personally, he's top 7 player in the league for me. But Luka does like a borderline LeBron James effect, where once he steps on the court, everyone around him gets bigger. Me and James had this conversation.
It goes back to what Mac's point, though. Again,
I got a question. Go
ahead, Mac.
If I'm not saying it's going to happen, but let's see the Warriors get to 4th or 5th in some miraculous way. Steph Curry's putting up 29. Is he an MVP candidate?
Yes, 100%. That's high, very high expectations. He can.
I don't
win
think it's gonna happen, but I'm just saying.
No, yeah,
That's fair. The odds are stacked against him with that.
there could be some random dark horse one, but going into the season, yeah, AD, Giannis, and Luka for me too. Yeah.
For Luka, though, KP has to be available more than he's been available.
I agree.
Otherwise, that's going to screw him.
And people need to kill the narrative if you're
Wait,
playing
for
with
him to
top
be MVP, Luka needs to be KP needs
Because
to
he got to
be
win
available.
games. He got to win
Yeah,
games.
they have to win games.
seeding.
Yeah.
People need to stop creating this narrative that if you're playing with a top 5 player, you can't win MVP. That is literally because the media made that up. There's no logic behind any of that argument. I can't stand that argument. Anthony Davis
Say that again.
playing with the narrative, playing with another top 5 player, you can win MVP. That is literally a made up narrative for no reason.
But we've seen it
How?
happen.
But
though.
if you borderline, if it's so close that if say you're 1A and 1B, right? So both of you are pretty much both
We've
of you
seen
are
it
pretty much
happen.
MVP.
We saw it happen 2 times, Brandon. You know that, right?
I know, dude. I'm with you. I said we need to stop creating that narrative. People say that AD can't win.
Who
the
says
MVP.
we created the narrative? Maybe they just didn't win.
It's
That's
factual.
your guy.
It happened twice, though, Falco. It happened with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. They didn't win. And then it happened last year with AD and LeBron.
Not
They didn't win
doing
MVP. It's factual that it's happened. When you play with 2 top 5 players in the league,
You're not
cancels
gonna
each other
win
out.
it,
You're
bro.
not going to win.
You can though. Wait, Shaq did
Where?
it. Shaq did it.
Kobe wasn't a top 5
He was
top
top
5
five
that
that
year.
year.
He was
Those
top
years,
5
bro.
that year.
You was
He
a little
was-
too young. You wasn't watching it. You wasn't
man.
watching it.
No. Kobe wasn't top 5. It can't happen, bro. It can't. It's the same thing.
Why
It's
can't
basic math. It's basic math. If you've
It's the
got
same
2
thing, yeah.
guys sharing the stats and you're, like they said, 1A, 1B, that means some other guy on some other team was more important to his team than those
Bingo.
2 guys were to their team.
The only argument you may have of that,
Bingo.
but it's just you have to go back in those seasons and look at Dwayne Wade. Was Dwayne Wade a top 5 player in the league when LeBron?
That's what I was just thinking. The Miami
That's the
Heat.
only-
That's a
only
question mark
argument you
here.
have. Yeah, that's the only argument you may have for that. Is go with Miami.
And I think Dwayne those years, if you really look back to it, I'm just going off my memory. I think he started fading a little bit.
He did.
A little. Just a
I
little
think
bit. Yeah.
fade to like 8, 9 is what let them say, okay, LeBron is literally the alpha. There's no 1A, 1B. There's 1, there's 2, within there's 3.
Right.
You know?
But it's not even like proven that it's what he is at 1A, 1B with the Lakers. There's no Anthony Davis putting up his MVP caliber numbers. The Lakers getting the 1 seed. There's no reason why you can't give Anthony Davis the award. That's what this.
But he has LeBron.
Yeah,
There's
you
so
don't
many.
understand it, bro.
That doesn't mean it's
Listen, look at it this way. You've got LeBron, let's say he's 3. We're going to rate them 1 to 3. Okay? If LeBron is 3 and AD is 3 and together the Lakers win, fine. But if you have one guy on another team who has to be number 1 for them to have a winning record, for them to have a dominant regular season, even if they are not as successful as the Lakers in the regular season, their ability to share that load between them eliminates them. They cancel each other out. The one guy on the other team is more important to their team than those 2 guys, or either one of them are.
Brandon, let me ask you a question. What are the Lakers without AD? Just LeBron.
Just LeBron.
Just LeBron.
I don't know. We don't see it. I don't know.
No, because you like to use the if game, so let's use it though.
I would never let you ask me on now, Mike. This is my thing. And you of all people are not going to ask me. Not happening.
Hold on, but Brandon,
you cannot.
Brandon, it's like she said. It's common. It's just basic mathematics. If you finish with the same record, say Milwaukee Bucks, let's just use Milwaukee. It just happens. So let's be honest. You got Milwaukee. You got the Lakers. Both finished first. It's close to records. One player's next best player is Chris Middleton. The other next best player is LeBron or AD. It's simple. Who is the most valuable to their team?
I hate
No knock on Chris Middleton, though. No knock on him.
I
But still.
love Chris Middleton, but I'm just trying to say, like it's simple. Who was the better player? The only time I can if I look back in the '90s, Scottie Pippen wasn't top 5, but he was close to a very good player. John Stockton was probably the best all-around point guard, but he wasn't a top 5 player, so Karl Malone could get the MVP. David Robinson, he got the MVP. Hakeem Olajuwon, he had a great, talented team, but he got the MVP. So, and if you think about why Jordan was hurt that year, why Karl Malone got it, it's because Scottie was stepping up, and they said, you know what, Scottie's a little bit better this year. We're going to give it to Karl Malone, who only has John Stockton, who really doesn't score, and Byron Russell and Jeff Hornacek as your next best players. So it's just what's happened. It's just the truth, bro.
I hate the MVP regular season award. It's overrated. But now
Who should have got it this year?
I agree with you. I agree with you there. I hate it too.
Thanks.
Who should have got it?
Jay, by the way, on Carl's platform, me and Coach Womack debated that it's a regular season MVP overrated. Just to throw that
I
out.
think it's stupid that you even came up with that question.
No, it's not. It's a great take.
It's not a great take.
I want to put the script though. Can a fifth title for LeBron James this year? As tonight he will be getting his fourth ring. The Lakers will be hanging up their 18th banner. Is there any chance someone's mind could change and give him the GOAT nod, winning back-to-back titles this late in his career with the storied franchise, the Los Angeles Lakers? Is that possible?
No to the no to the no to the no to the no. Give me, yo.
I mean, if you want a duet there, I can totally do that.
Yeah, I was going to chime in too.
We all could have harmonized on that.
Listen, I could make a. Could I make the argument? I could make the argument because at the end of the day, I think it's like we say, is it 1A and 1B, right? He's right there. It's 1A, 1B. It's neck and neck. I think what's going to get him over the hump, he continue playing this at a high level. He can pass Kareem. I did the math. He has to average, I think, maybe 17 or 18 points for the next 3 to 4 seasons to pass Kareem.
No.
Yeah, he can pass Kareem.
23 or 24, I thought.
No, he need. I think it's maybe about 20. Maybe I'm wrong, but about 20 for the next 4 years he can pass Kareem. He already has the MVPs. He already has the rings. But I think it's just the ring would get him.
If we count the Space Jam stats from the movie, those points are given.
Part of the issue, though, is again, you have people who want to not. But part of the issue is like fans like myself and Womack who watch Jordan play. Can they accept LeBron as the greatest of all time? I think that's what it really comes down to. And again, it goes back to Greg Polius's point about media pressure and fan pressure. Can the fans and the media accept that LeBron is the greatest of all time? I don't know. I don't know if they can. That's just my opinion.
Just like I grew up with watching people like my elders who are 50, 40 years old. They grew up watching Kareem play, and they just saw something in Mike that they didn't see in Kareem. There was a different element to his play and his stature. And we got to understand this too. The GOAT title is not just what you did numbers wise. It's just like saying who's the greatest entertainer. It's not the best singer. It's not the best dancer. It's a combination. So Michael Jackson didn't even write his own songs. Prince is probably the greatest musician alive. He wrote all his music. Michael Jackson performed other people's music, but he just did it at a different level. Mike's eye test was just when we watched it, we said, wow, there's no one stopping this man for 6 years, except for the year when he came back. He came back midway in the season and he lost to Orlando Magic.
I thought that year didn't exist.
No, that year exists. He lost in the playoffs. But
there we go. Don't start.
We said it. You hear us saying it. Argue with other people about it. But I think this group, from listening to everybody, is pretty knowledgeable. He literally went 6 years with no one touching me or my team. I've never seen that.
That's what Chauncey Billups said too when he's asked about it. He's like, look, when MJ was in the finals, nobody ate. Everybody ate while LeBron was in the finals. Everybody else got a chance.
Hold on.
No Popeye's chicken sandwiches for no one. Sold out when MJ was in the finals, bro.
Here's an argument with no context, but here's the thing with this. I think a lot of people, besides emotions and biases, which we all have, I think people will not accept LeBron as the GOAT, no matter how many rings, no matter how much he accomplishes, because his peak is behind him. Is he still in his prime? Is he still the best player in the world? Sure. But his peak of his powers, those days are over. And a lot of people value the GOAT as who had the highest peak in the history of basketball. Even me, a LeBron guy, I don't think there's any argument there. 1991 to 1993 was the greatest basketball player in the history of the game. That was Jeffrey Jordan. What he did, those 3 finals runs, 3 finals MVPs, one of those finals he averaged 41 a game. His first one, he averaged 31 points with 11 assists, 2 regular season MVPs. What he accomplished there, LeBron doesn't have a 3-year stretch where you could say, okay, these 3 years, top Michael Jordan. I really can't believe you could say that. The thing where LeBron can catch him in some eyes outside of biases is the longevity argument. You could say, if I want to draft one of these guys when I look back at their careers, I want to be as successful for as long as possible. LeBron is absolutely like defeating the odds. He's defeating Father Time, being this great, being the best player in the league for this long. At the end of the day, LeBron statistically is going to pass MJ in just about every single statistical category. That way, in terms of longevity, LeBron's already beat him. And then if you could tie him in rings, it would kind of shut a lot of
He's
people.
going to pass him in total, not average. So like that's
different.
Longevity.
That's an important difference.
Yeah, but that's the longevity thing. But that's
what I'm saying. I'm giving Michael Jordan the peak.
But hold on. One can say maybe LeBron wanted to play this long because he's chasing something. Michael didn't chase it. He reached the top and said, I own it. Everyone says I'm the best player. I have nothing to prove. With LeBron in the back of his mind, he can't say he doesn't have anything to prove because he told us with his own mouth, I'm chasing a ghost and I have to catch this ghost. So MJ said, you know what? There is no ghost. I'm the ghost. I'm the ghost. Everyone's going to chase me. Even when I retire the first time, I'm going to come back and you're going to chase me again. And then I'm going to come back with the Wizards and just chill and still get 23 while I don't even want to play basketball anymore. You see, that's the difference. But I do give LeBron credit. He's doing something in no sport we've seen. Right. No sport have we seen this type of play at this year. And like Carl said, you're going to get down to he's in the conversation. And it's going to be a close preference. If you want to go longevity, Brandon, I'm not going to argue and call you crazy and not a basketball person. But if you're like some of us on this panel who I think we go a little older and we watched it, we saw it, it's different. It was just different watching.
I'm giving you the peak argument.
And it's interesting. This is interesting for me because I don't have a GOAT. I don't think you can fairly compare different eras of NBA, but I will argue all day long why it's not LeBron James.
He's a consensus player. You have no argument to say he's not.
Wait, time out. You don't have a GOAT, but you're going to argue against it not being LeBron. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, paradoxes are kind of my thing. But the point is...
Do you see what I have to deal with every week with our podcast then? Jeez.
Oh, stop.
I'm a paradox. Well, that doesn't help me.
I just think, like Coach said, like, when you watch... Like, I grew up on MJ. Like, I fell in love with basketball while Michael Jordan was doing his thing.
Absolutely.
And you cannot deny there is... It's hard to explain, which is why there's such a generational gap between LeBron people and MJ people, because you can't explain it. You kind of had to be there. And if you were there, it would be like, oh, yeah, I get it. Like, it even if you never saw him play live, it came through the screen in a way that it doesn't when LeBron James plays basketball.
But you know what? I can disagree with that because to me, it's the same. It's like we can't sit here and tell someone like Brandon Falco that he doesn't get that same feeling that we got when we watched MJ, which is why it's a generational thing. You see what I'm saying? Watching LeBron play, I think LeBron is the best thing that happened to basketball since MJ. And the fact that we had a 4 to 5 year gap without a legit superstar.
I don't know, Carl. I don't know because we had listen. In MJ and Carl, I don't know because like we said from 19. And you got to go to the 80s because even when LeBron didn't win, we still said he was the best player in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I can say that Michael Jordan, player by player, was the best player starting in around 88. 87, 88 is when MJ really started passing a little more, started really knowing what he needed to do defensively, defensive player of the year, which you can debate, but he got that accolade. And so 88 to about 93, he was the best player by far. Took a break for 2 years. You know, the year he took a break and the year he lost, he wasn't the best player. Right. And then he did another 3 years. So he did 8 years of being the best player in the NBA, where with LeBron, we saw Steph Curry get 2 MVPs and say he was the best player. We saw Kevin Durant.
That's debatable because, again, when you know in the Hitler streets, we've had this debate. I've asked this question. I asked it to you. I said, when did LeBron get that nod? And people tell me after 2011, he got the nod as the best player because Kobe had it for that time being. I accepted it. But again, you're going to sit here over the last 10 years and tell me that Steph Curry was the best player in the league over LeBron, even though
yes, I will. I will argue.
That's where the problem comes in. That's where the issue comes in. Over the last 10 years.
You said MJ was the best player in the league for 8 years in a row, right? Or you said how long did you say?
No. I said it's about 5 years and then another 3 years. So okay. 5 and 3.
Yeah, but he has 5 MVPs. So I guess those years he wasn't the best player in the league then?
No, you don't have – everybody who gets the MVP is not the best player in the NBA.
But then that goes to my point. Mac, that goes to my
that.
point. But Mac, that goes to my point, though, because
But
look at the
I'm
last 10
saying
years.
when Steph Curry won those first championship with Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, I thought at that time Steph Curry was the best player in basketball for what he was doing. The spacing, the shooting, the changing the game. You couldn't guard him.
Okay.
I thought that's
fair, but that's 1 year in 10, though. You're looking at one.
I give KD a year, too.
So you're giving KD 2014. That's 2 years.
I'm giving KD a year.
So that's
I'm
8 years keeping up with MJ. Second, you giving what?
KD the best player in the league in 20
I'm giving KD 2.
You're giving KD 2 years.
Don't say 2017. You're better than that. Like you.
So which years you giving him? You giving him 14 and 18, or 14 and 17?
17.
Dude,
so 17 and 14.
Dude, you're a smart guy. You don't believe that. You're a smart guy. Don't do that.
Yo, listen. Just because LeBron, listen, what KD was doing when they went mano a mano in that finals. Let's not stop. We could review it. They had Kyrie, Curry, KD, LeBron. Who was closing the games better in that finals? It wasn't Steph Curry. It was KD. He was the closer.
We're gonna go back.
Yo, this is my man. This is my guy. I was just telling them this an hour ago, and nobody believed me.
I wasn't listening to you. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you. I've been saying this all show, bro.
Nobody closed Jordan, and nobody closed Jordan in the finals. It didn't happen.
We don't really get a team like the Golden State Warriors. His finals.
Okay, I'll give you that.
We're not as good as ever trying to make them seem. And don't use the total wins of the Suns or the Blazers or the Jazz. That happened.
Listen, that Detroit Pistons team he beat was like 2-time champion. He dethroned a 2-time champion, the Bad Boys, who changed the game, who has 4 or 5 Hall of Famers and a Hall of Fame coach. They don't play like the Warriors, but they had 2 Finals MVPs on that team. They had Dennis Rodman. They had one of the toughest guys in Bill Laimbeer. They had one of the greatest 6 men ever in the game in the microwave. So those teams were great too.
Okay.
Those teams were
Jerry's
great.
just smiling right now. This is her team.
I grew up on this. I grew up on that Pistons team.
Why don't you tell the full story? What happened to Isaiah Thomas in that year? He broke his wrist and he never came back to sing. He missed 58 games that year. You failed to tell that story. That is
when the first year they beat him. He didn't play in the playoffs.
No, he didn't. He missed 50.
You can't sit here and do that.
So now we're gonna do that.
Because you could do that for all of LeBron's rings too, my guy.
Every single one.
Wasn't intangible. You want me to go
Who was hurt on the other team?
Again, short season in 2012. Ray Allen in 2013. Draymond Green in 16. The bubble season. Every ring has an intangible. You can't sit here and nitpick at championship.
I'm not saying that. He just didn't know there. Like that team was so like that the Pistons were really better than the Bulls. Jordan never beat a team his team never beat a team that was better than his. It was the Bulls.
LeBron never beat a team that was better than the. He never beed the Warriors full strength. He never beat the Warriors full strength. He never beat the Warriors in a 7-game series full strength.
How could you? Hold on.
You're nitpicking. That's what I'm saying. Falco, you can't nitpick, bro.
Nitpick. In 2016, so Coach, it's fair to say Draymond was the 3rd best player on that team.
Here comes this stupid argument. Oh my God.
That's when Carl just stands up and leaves for 10 minutes.
Listening.
I'm
listening.
Draymond Green's the 3rd best player on the Warriors, right?
Okay.
And Kevin Love's the 3rd best player on the Cavs.
Okay.
So why in Game 3 when Kevin Love missed Game 3, the Cavs won by 30, down 2-0? That doesn't matter. But up 3-1 with the.
All right, now let me ask you a question. You watch now. Here's when I get to the coaching aspect. I'm gonna throw my coaching hat on. I turn the hat around and I put it forwards because coaches can't have hats backwards like that. So now I ask you the question: when you watch those teams on offense and on defense, who's a more integral part to their team? Not if you're 3rd best or not if you're 5th best. The offense runs through Draymond Green. I don't care what no one says. He's the point forward. All Steph Curry does is bring it up the ball, dribble handoff, goes down underneath the basket. You got 2 corners where you could come out with screens. Draymond Green sets the table for everyone. Defensively, he guards the best player. And here's the kicker. They're a better defensive team because they switch 1 through 4, 1 through 5 when they go with the depth line with Iguodala, which means Draymond Green guards your point guard. That's bigger than a Kevin Love who's just averaging some useless points because he gets open jump shots or a couple rebounds than a Draymond Green. Just because somebody's the third best, all third best aren't created equal. Just like all first best aren't created equal.
Tell him, coach. Tell him, coach. Tell him, coach.
All right, have backwards back.
Preach.
I'm with you with some of that, but why with the unanimous MVP and his sidekick they can't close out a game 5? But what happened in game 6 full strength and game 7 when they're full strength?
Well, we know what happens in games like that.
The momentum shifted after that game.
Yeah, we know what that. I mean,
man.
it's not like momentum shifted. I'm not saying LeBron wasn't like that team couldn't play with the Warriors. LeBron was in a different level. Of course, they could play with the Warriors, but what we're saying is we see what happened to the Clippers with Dallas. You had the lead. You closed Dallas out in the bubble. That series is over. You heard Paul George say, he said, oh, we're just going to get him in game 6. Game 6, you don't win. Oh, we're going to get him in game 7. Then you said, oh, we're going to get him in 2021. Like, it's something changed.
I don't know.
LeBron's your guy, though. I love you. I love you, and I love LeBron, man.
To wrap up, one more LeBron topic to wrap up.
Oh, my God, another LeBron.
We have 2 hours of content here. We have 2 hours of
LeBron take, man.
We have 2 hours of content here. If LeBron has anything to prove this season, and if the Lakers don't win the finals, would that be a stain on his resume?
It's the same thing I said last point about Kevin Durant, about him going to Brooklyn, about him needing legacies and resumes. No, he's a 4-time NBA champion, a 4-time Finals MVP. He's won the MVP 4 times. LeBron's in his 18th year. What else does he need to accomplish? He's brung 3 championships to 3 different teams. What else does he need to do? We have to stop saying that they need other championships for their legacies. No, his legacy's certain. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's it.
I'll tell you why his legacy hurts, Carl. I kind of disagree a little bit. Because of the team he's on and who he's playing with. If LeBron was in Cleveland right now and he was just whoever you guys draft, I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to play through this franchise. I'm going to retire. If he was that LeBron, no. If you don't even make the playoffs, LeBron, I don't care. Just like, to me, I don't care what nobody says. The Jordan years and the Wizards didn't mess up his legacy for me. Patrick Ewing in Seattle and Orlando didn't mess up his legacy for me. Akeem Olajuwon with the Raptors, his legacy wasn't messed up for me. But
those are such painful pictures to think about right now. Just all
those
players.
It hurts. It is.
Like, oh God!
I will give you that. The Laker point, because he's a Laker. You got me on that one. Because he's a Laker.
No, but also because he's playing with Anthony Davis and they have championship aspirations.
They're the
Like
favorite.
when you put it all together on the line like that, like you want to win a championship, and when you're still the top 3 best player in the NBA, it's on you to win the championship.
If you have title expectations and you're a top superstar and arguably the best player in the game, it's absolutely a stain on your resume. Doesn't have anything necessarily to prove. I think I said when he joined LA, I said if he wins one in LA and wins Finals MVP, then his legacy is like cemented. Okay, because he can't afford being a player that great to be the only superstar in the Lakers history not to deliver a title. Like that would be a huge stain. But this year, I do say like it would be a stain, and he's got I wouldn't say he has something to prove, but I think it still would be a stain. Like Coach said, when you have title expectations and you're wearing that purple and gold, Laker Nation is not satisfied with 1 chip. And most of these other superstars, they delivered multiple chips. Magic, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq. I mean, the list goes on. So these guys, Will Chamberlain, these guys delivered more than 1. I think the 1 was a huge one. That was one that was like a necessity. But absolutely, because it would be an upset. It would be his team being the favorite, and then they are losing. And again, like Coach said, and like I said earlier, LeBron said he's chasing that ghost in Chicago. He said what motivates him is to be the greatest player of all time. To change anyone's opinion would be the Lakers keep winning titles. And what their roster is constructed, they have a legit shot to three-peat. And tying Jordan with 6 rings, then in some people's eyes, again, I would never argue the peak argument. But in terms of longevity and tying him in rings, doubling him in finals appearances, that could change a lot of people's minds.
I got a question. So is legacy the same thing as resume?
Sure.
That's an important distinction, actually.
Because I feel like this could be kind of a different situation with Lakers. When you go to the Lakers, you get your own. There's its own different standard.
100%.
It's not like say he went to just any old other team. Like just any other team. When you go to Lakers, and then I'd have to say Boston just because of their history and stuff.
Sure.
When you go there, it's title or bust,
Right.
regardless. So I think, would this be a stain on his overall? I personally don't think so. But as a Laker, as like his time is 10 years that, it's gonna eat at him. It's gonna eat at that. I just, if we're gonna say resume, the same thing as legacy. At this point, LeBron's done too much. It's gonna hurt it. But I personally, like, you've already done it all. You've done it all. Like, you have nothing else to worry about. But I'm going to agree with Carl, what he was saying before about the media and stuff like that. I know I'm going back on my word with some of the stuff, but at this point, the LeBron talk, it just
it's the pressure. Like it's like, I guess your resume, your legacy is defined by your resume, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, again, the only point I would say is the Lakers. You know, you're a superstar in LA. You have to win more than one. You're going to be like, all right, you have to win at least 2 to 3 to even be up there in La La Land. That's it. As far as his legacy to everything else, it doesn't. LeBron is sitting pretty, man. The guy is he's done everything. What else does he
resume though? Wouldn't it be something that you could add to that resume, saying, "Okay, I got my jersey retired with 3 different franchises," and doing that, he needs one more, another title in LA, and especially with
Miami's. Wow, Miami's retiring his joint too.
Yeah, they're gonna retire it.
They're gonna retire, right?
Yeah, because they already retired Bosch's and
yeah, they gotta retire his.
Yeah, they're gonna retire this.
I think the only way LeBron's jersey could be retired in LA is multiple chips. I don't think one's enough.
True.
And this year they have title expectations. They're the favorite, like it's actually a pretty big gap of how much they're actually title favorites. This would be a failure. It would be a failure for Laker Nation and someone of that caliber, having the best teammate he's ever had in his career, having a legit cheat code in Anthony Davis, probably the deepest roster he's ever been on too. I understand it's late in his career, but with title expectations, and I think in terms of what to prove, LeBron needs to prove to Laker Nation that his jersey needs to be retired with those other greats hanging up. And I don't think right now his jersey's retired in LA, especially if it's big of a failure if they don't deliver.
I don't want his jersey to be retired in LA. Nothing to deal with like him personally, but he's only, he can be played total 4 years with them. And what he's done with the team is great, but it's nothing new. Lakers have always been great. When he was with Miami, like, yes, they had the one title before, but like what that culture that they brought, like it has still oozed on to current Miami Heat. It might have to do with also the coaching with it. It was Spoelstra still being there, but like that kind of culture is still in Miami. But I forgot where I was going with this.
I don't think, for people who like LeBron, they're always going to find ways to argue that he's the guy. And I think for people who don't, they're always going to find ways to argue that he's not. The thing that's interesting to me about LeBron is how he's changed the business side of the NBA. He's completely changed the way players approach their careers, the ownership they have in being able to move, to be able to pick where they want to play, who they want to play.
So he started that era, right? Just to be clear.
I mean, he dominated the era. He turned it into what it is now.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I just wanted to clear that up for Falco for sure. Because
what about creating the super team thing?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
All I'm saying is LeBron did it differently in terms of creating the super teams, but there were super teams before him.
Nobody's disagreeing with you.
No, the way he did
it is new to LeBron.
Sure, but there were other super
teams. That's important. Yeah, we're not saying there wasn't other super teams, but the way he did it,
I agree with that.
Like free agency was, when I was growing up, who paid attention to free agency? I didn't pay any attention to free agency. And now free agency is its own circus every single year. That's because of LeBron.
That's good for the game. Like now,
I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm saying is the way that I see his legacy, it's not just about the rings and the MVPs and the how many different teams did he do it on. He changed the way the game is approached. I feel the same way about Steph Curry. Steph Curry changed the way the game is played. LeBron James changed the way players approach their careers. And that's never going away. So I think that's an important thing, because I think the ownership that players have on their careers is important. Do I think sometimes it's swung too far in the other direction? For sure I do. But it's an improvement on where things used to be. And I think that's as important a part of his legacy on the NBA as anything else.
I could agree with that.
Listen, Falco, there's still a way. You could still build a championship team through the draft.
I'm not disagreeing with that. It's the fact that Dan Gilbert was never able to put a team around him. That's why he had to do it his way. That's what ultimately changed the game. I don't think he wanted to leave because he just felt like changing it his own way. I believe Dan Gilbert's being just such a poor owner had so many opportunities to actually get him a sidekick or a Robin rather, and he never did, which ultimately made him leave. I think Dan Gilbert's the reason why LeBron left.
I have another thing. Why LeBron? There's a comedian I listen to. He has a joke about why LeBron left. He's like, so I just spent 7 years in Cleveland in the cold, working my butt off, not getting any help around me. I'm 25. Like I myself always forget. Like when he went to Miami, like some players, like if they would have stayed all 4 years in college, they would be in their third year. This guy's already won an MVP. He's already gone to the finals, tried to do it himself. He's 25. 2 of his best friends want to play with him in South Miami. When you're that age and you're that talented, you want to be able to play basketball with your friends, you get a chance to win like that. Like, it's hard to pass that kind of opportunity up. Like I said, you're 25. Like, I'm going to get a lot of money. I'm going to be in a fun area. I'm going to be a fun environment. Be playing with my friends. Like, yeah, it's like AAU days all over.
But you know what? Same thing for Kevin Durant. You get an opportunity, the Warriors come to you and tell you that I'm not finished yet. You get an opportunity to join a 73-9 team to help them win a championship. You're going to tell me no? Are you kidding me? No.
I get that. I get why Kevin Durant did that. I 100%. I'm not saying that, but that's just that.
You're not going to say no. You're not. There's
Exactly.
no way you're right.
I am.
You guys are crazy. You're crazy.
If I'm at the point in my career, like LeBron James, when he went, still had a good chunk of his career left. So,
Absolutely.
like, I'm going to take a chance with it. I'm 25. I still got at least another 8 years in me, which is obviously shown that he's killed that completely going into year 18. Like, when you get I hate to say, like, I understand why he went or why LeBron did that or why Kyrie or Kevin Durant did it. But, like, when you get those opportunities, like Carl, the narrative of having rings, I've written a couple articles about ring chasing. I think it's complete bullshit because sometimes it's just right place, right time. That's it, like any team in the 90s. If you weren't the Bulls, if you weren't Houston, or if you weren't San Antonio and the Lakers at the end of the decade, if you weren't those 4 teams, you're not winning anything in the 80s.
Yeah. Charles Barkley talks about he started ring chasing. After he left Phoenix, what did he do? He went to Houston to try to get a ring.
He went to Houston, and they still lost.
Yeah, come on. We're not going to sit here and try to pretend like players don't want to ring chase. Come on, man. Let's stop it.
I don't have a problem with ring chasing at the end of careers, but when you're still in your prime, that's my only issue. That's my own personal issue. But if you still have the opportunity to go for it, it's your own career. Who gives a shit about me? I'm just sitting here at my cabin in the middle of Minnesota. Who cares?
You know what? 10 years ago, when I was 24, I would agree with you because I hated the move. As a 24, like I was pissed off. You know, I was. But now looking back at it, you're looking at it like he had to do what he had to do for his career. I don't think.
He's gonna have the. If he didn't get the ring, he was gonna be thrown in the Barkley, the Reggie Miller, the Patrick Ewing, that kind of conversation. And it's a great group of players to be with, but for the group you're a part of, that's bad. You don't want to be in that group of great players of the ringless. And since they put such an emphasis
on Kevin Durant.
No, I said, he had to get the ring to get everyone off his back. He got it. I'm off his back now for the most part.
And it's the same thing I say because that pressure of Kevin Durant needs to win. To me, it's like, all right, because the fans and the media put in pressure now that say, okay, can you win one without Steph Curry? That's where it comes from. It's not for his legacy. To me, Kevin Durant's legacy is done deal. We already know what he can do.
So you're going to tell me with a straight face that Kevin Durant can't elevate his legacy any better?
Can he elevate it any better? Of course, you're going to elevate your legacy. Championship ring. Say again.
Kevin Durant didn't reach his ceiling in terms of getting his legacy.
Why not? He's a champ. What's the ceiling for a champ for your legacy? It's subjective to the player.
Accomplish as much as you can with context behind the arguments for as long as you can. Durant still has stuff left to prove, and it starts tonight.
Again, when we're doing a checklist, which I told you again, when you go to a player's Hall of Fame status, you look at a guy like Isaiah Thomas, You look at a guy like Dwayne Wade, 3-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP. The only other thing you can say is one time. Excuse me. But again, every player's legacy is built different. So you have to look at. For me, Kevin Durant has the accolades, has the team accomplishments. He's done everything. What else do you need him to do?
Right now, I feel like a player of all time, and he can be considered one. He has to more.
Wait, say that again. He can be what?
He can be considered a top 10 player of all time, but he is not right now.
He needs another championship to be considered top 10 player of all time. He's already there.
100%.
He's already there.
You think Kevin Durant's a top 10 player of all time?
Yes.
No.
You don't even know.
No.
You don't.
Make your list now. Make the list.
Give me 10. Give me your 10.
Make the list now. I'm gonna make my list right now. And Kevin Durant makes the list.
I'll tell you right now, off my mind.
You're gonna make sure Kevin Durant. I wanted to go to another conversation a week
Kevin
from
Durant
now.
doesn't make a list
No
top
Kevin
10
Durant
right now.
context.
No.
And you're basically saying championships will change your mind on that. That's what you're saying.
I think
I'm not saying that.
What?
I'm not saying that.
You was unexpected.
So then what? So that means he'll never be top 10 all time then. That's what we're saying.
He could prove it.
But she just said, what else does he need to do?
What's
to
your
prove
10?
that?
Call. What's your 10?
You could put MJ, Wilt, right?
Yeah.
You got Kareem, LeBron,
Larry,
Magic,
Kobe.
He's above Kobe.
Dude, what?
Kobe,
Yeah.
Russell, Dream, and KD. Done.
Duncan? KD's over Duncan?
Over Duncan?
Go look at the average. We're looking at the numbers. Go look at the numbers.
No, we're looking at everything.
Duncan. You're going to put Duncan in there,
so
right?
We can talk Hall of Fame. He's
Duncan's
there.
ahead
I'll
of
go
K-
top 10.
Karl Malone? KD past Karl Malone?
Wait, did you
I could put KD over Karl Malone. Yeah, I could put KD over Karl Malone.
What? You have to Bill Russell. You call yourself a
I didn't leave him. No, I put Bill Russell in there. I put Bill Russell.
Okay, maybe
He threw in Bill Russell. He threw in Bill Russell. I had to make sure. I was just like, there's two arguments he has to make on this list here.
Listen,
Kevin Durant passed Hakeem Olajuwon.
did he pass Dream? No, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, are you?
But I put Dream in my top 10. Dream's in there.
Yeah, Dream was in the top 10. Dream was 7. Because I wanted to make sure. I approved of that list until you said Kevin Durant because you should have put Tim Duncan. But the rest of that list, 9 out of 10.
Tim Duncan got to be in there, bro.
He's 5 for 6 in the finals, and he's a guy.
Tim Duncan is like the Drake of music, yo. Like we just got tired of Drake. Like, he's not.
So, but again, there's nothing Kevin Durant could do to be in anyone's top 10 is what we're basically saying.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. But what he's at now, he wouldn't be in my personal top 10. If he does some more stuff with these next few years, which is totally possible, that list could easily change. But right now, I'd put him top 20 for me.
So you don't think him winning a Finals MVP with a sorry franchise like Brooklyn and / New Jersey, who have never really accomplished anything since Dr. J in like 1400 BC when like the bubonic plague was around? The last time the Nets had anything to celebrate.
Listen, I'm not going to say he can't add on.
What about Jason Kidd?
I'm just saying. What do you mean? I'm just saying. For me, he checks all the boxes. He has all the boxes. All he needs now is the Hall of Fame. That's just for me. Again, NBA championship, Finals MVP, regular season MVP, scoring title, 50, 40, 90 club. He checks the boxes. Olympic gold medalist. If we're checking boxes, that's what we need. The criteria to get up there. It's the same thing. I make the argument for Dirk. Dirk has checked all the boxes.
But everybody you put him. Duncan got the MVPs, defensive players, more championships.
I don't think Duncan has
Olympic gold.
Duncan doesn't have a defensive.
No, defensive teams. Defensive teams.
Seconds left. Final thoughts. Season coming tonight. What do we expect in tonight's matchups? Who's everyone picking? Nets, Warriors.
I got the Nets.
Listen, I got the Warriors.
Listen,
picking the Warriors.
I say the Knicks make the playoffs overall. I got the Knicks making
the playoffs. Chill.
Don't do that. I'm serious. They look good, bro. They look good.
Man.
I will say they will surprise us this year, but they're not going to win it because Thibodeau ruins the Knicks.
I got the
Thibodeau ruins players' careers.
34 to 36 wins, 32 to 36 wins on the next season. That's the plateau.
That I can totally get behind, which is still way more than they should.
Nate and Carl, real quick, if you want to shout out your platforms before we go.
Oh, check out the Sports Hit List Wednesdays live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Also on Sundays for the NFL Kickoff Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And check out Hardcourt Honeys. Podcast drops every Monday morning. Live show Thursday. Hardcourt Honeys presents #NBA Twitter. And tonight at the Get Collide app, we are hosting a watch party with both shows. We've got jersey giveaways. It's going to be a lot of fun. You've got Taylor, myself, and our third honey, Shay, who is not here today, but she will be with us in the app tonight.
And one last thing, my platform, The Falco Takeaway, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Everyone, thank you guys for joining me for 2 hours.
Let me shout out my platform, The Streets.
Hey, Jade, I'm going to see you again. You got to come on my show. I like the style. You got to come on and talk to us for a little bit.
I'm going to wrap up. Thank you guys again. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care.